So we're good to go? Okay, thank you. So welcome to our afternoon, which has now become our evening session for today. I'd like to call the meeting to order in accordance with sections 45 and 53 of the Planning Act as amended for the Committee of Adjustment, City of Toronto, Etobicoke, York panel. Before I start, my name is Stan Komorek. I'll be your chair this evening. My fellow panel members, on my far left, Natalia Popovic, on my left, Dominic Gully, on my right, Donald Taylor, on my far right, Bill Dalton, and also would like to introduce our Deputy Secretary, Treasurer, and Manager for Etobicoke, York, Barbara Bartosik, at the far left, and Barb staff in front of us. A Committee of Adjustment considers applications for variances from the provisions of the zoning that apply to property, permissions to extend or alter lawful non-conforming uses, and consents to sever property to create new lots. Land acknowledgement: we acknowledge the land we are meeting on is the traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Our hearing procedure: Committee of Adjustment hearings are now conducted in a hybrid in-person and virtual format. Some applicants and participants will make their submission in person, while others will do so virtually. The meetings are also streamed on the Toronto City YouTube channel, and anyone wishing to view the hearing may watch on YouTube. Those who want to participate virtually and have registered in advance will be connecting with their computer, laptop, smartphone, telephone, and have an option of participating via video or audio only. All virtual participants will be automatically muted on entry. When your item is called, you will be unmuted by the moderator. Those participating by video appearance will be temporarily upgraded to panelist. When your item is being held, during this time, your camera will be enabled. You will only be visible during your 5-minute allotted speaking time. At all other times, your video will be disabled and you will be reinstated as an attendee. For both in-person and virtual participants, Committee of Adjustment staff will share presentations submitted in accordance with the written submission deadlines. Those participating through WebEx are not allowed to use share screen or any other panelist controls during the video appearance. Excuse me. Decisions of the committee: people attending in person today who want to receive a copy of the decision of the committee must fill out a decision request card, and those participating virtually need to submit a written request for a decision by email. Please ensure that you include your name, email address, and address, as a Committee of Adjustment and the Toronto Local Appeal Body will be sending notifications and appeal updates by email. If you do not agree with the decision of the committee, you may be able to appeal to the TLAB, the local appeal body, or in some limited circumstances to the Ontario Land Tribunal. However, the provincial government amended the Planning Act some time ago and generally removed rights of third parties to appeal Committee of Adjustment decisions, and now only the applicant, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, and public bodies that are specified in the Act are permitted to appeal decisions of the committee. Appeal instructions are set out at the bottom of the decision of the committee. Okay, each item will be read in order as listed in the agenda. When you're making your submission, the applicant will go first with their presentation. When the committee does not require a presentation, applicants are advised to are asked to advise the chair if they wish to speak to the committee. The committee may ask questions and undertake the matter into the committee for a decision. Each speaker, including the applicant agent, will be given a maximum of 5 minutes to address the committee. I will let you know when you are at or exceeded your 5 minutes. Any presentation or other materials, as mentioned before, must have been emailed in advance of the hearing. We cannot accept materials at the hearing today. The applicant or agent proceeds first, making the presentation to the committee on the application. And again, if there are substantial revisions, we may decide to defer the item to ensure that the revisions are correct and accurate, and to ensure that all those entitled to notice of the application are informed of the changes. Secondly, individuals either in support or opposition of the application will be invited to speak. Generally, we first call on speakers in the hearing room, and then those online. Committee members may ask questions of each speaker after they have finished their presentation. When all speakers are finished, the applicant agent has the opportunity to rebut, but only those issues that were raised by the previous speakers. I see I've disappeared again. Okay, this will mark the end of the discussion. The application will then be taken into the committee for a decision. Let me find myself online again. Okay, I believe, Madam Secretary Treasurer, we have no items for closure or deferral for the afternoon agenda? No. Okay, and does anyone have any conflicts of interest to declare, either from staff or from
Yes.
from panel members, sorry?
Yep, I have one with item 21. I'm working with some of the consultants on other projects, so I will declare a conflict.
And we will ask you to leave. All right. So first item for this evening is item 20. So this is 36 PAULART Drive. This is an application to permit a front yard parking space. I believe the notice originally asked for 2 spaces. The applicant has since revised their request and is only requesting 1 space now. This also reduces a number of variances from 4 to 2. And we have a consultant's report on file. We have 20 plus letters of objection, and we have a report from transportation saying that they're okay with it. Our agent, Matthew, is online.
Good afternoon, committee members.
Good afternoon.
My name is Matthew Rebo, owner of Prospective Views, and we've been retained by the owners of this property to represent this application. We've provided a letter.
I think I've lost you.
Sorry.
We didn't hear anything after you've provided a letter.
Oh. So I did provide a letter, but I'll read it because I have a couple of corrections to make to that letter anyways. I'll make that my presentation if you're ready.
Go ahead.
Okay, great. So this development of an additional parking space is intended to be used by the end users of a garden suite in the rear yard of the property, municipally known as 36 PAULART Drive in Toronto, Ontario. Our client is seeking approval for minor variances to accommodate an additional parking space. It's no longer an additional parking space, it's now only 1 parking space in the front yard of the property, given to the existing site constraints. Due to the location of the existing hydro pole and aerial hydro wires, it is not possible to widen the width of the driveway or any alternative driveway arrangements. We even looked at trying to get a parking space in the rear. That wasn't a possibility. We've worked with planning staff, addressed most of their comments, reduced the variances, and the revised drawings, what we believe to now meet the 4 tests of Planning Act, despite some of the opposition. We believe the requested variances are in support of the 4 tests of a minor variance and will assist in adding additional housing with the parking in an established neighborhood in the Etobicoke neighborhood. So the variances that we're seeking: 1, front yard parking space. So the bylaw is just simply to parking is not permitted in the front yard. And the other variance is the driveway width. So to permit a width of 1.62 meters to accommodate a 1.1 meter unobstructed path of travel required for the rear yard garden suite, which is already built by right. Whereas the bylaw requires a minimum driveway width of 2 meters. So the 4 tests: maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Subject property is designated neighborhoods as per the City of Toronto's official plan. Considered physically stable areas made up of residential uses in lower scale buildings such as detached houses, semi-detached houses, townhouses, duplexes, and triplexes. The proposal is to construct a garden suite, to support the garden suite in the rear yard of the property with a widened driveway in the front yard. The development adds a new family-friendly housing stock to the city, respects the existing character of the established neighborhood, does not result in any adverse impacts to adjacent properties, and meets the general intent and purpose of the official plan. In order to accommodate the garden suite and additional parking space, alterations to the driveway are required. Given the location of the existing hydropole in the city's boulevard, a traditional driveway widening is not possible given to the existing driveway orientation and characteristics of the lot. The site plan provided in support of this application proposes a driveway that occupies a portion of the front yard. The driveway measures 2.6 meters wide by 5.6 meters in length, which complies with the City of Toronto minimum parking space. Again, we reduced the proposed 2 spaces to now only 1. The additional parking space has been designed to limit impacts to the greatest extent possible by maintaining a substantial soft landscaping area, which I might add does comply. We were able to move that variance as well. As well as the unobstructed path of travel to the primary dwelling, front entrance, and garden suite. There are no impacts to the boulevard, street, tree, or hydropole or neighboring lots. It is our opinion that the proposal is consistent with the physical characteristic of nearby properties. There are several other lots that have single and double driveway widths, including driveways continuing to the rear of the lot. So in many instances of widened driveways in the immediate neighborhood that are encroached into front yards, the proposal maintains the general size and configuration of similar driveways and lots in the immediate vicinity of the property and respects and reinforces the prevailing physical character of the neighborhood. The proposal maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Maintaining the intent and purpose of the zoning.
We're getting close to your time.
Okay, I'm going to expedite this a little bit. So variance 1 is being requested to permit, the bylaw does not permit a driveway in the front yard. The variance is being requested to accommodate additional parking spaces required due to the presence of existing hydropole in the front yard.
Okay, I think you're starting to repeat yourself, so I'm going to ask you to wrap up, please.
Fair enough. All right, let me. Okay, minor in nature. The proposed variances are minor in nature and required to facilitate the development of the garden suite with parking space.
Okay, we got all that already, so I'm going to cut you off there.
Sure.
We're going to ask you some questions, so if you've missed something, you come out in the questions. So my first question is, the existing driveway, is it being maintained?
Well, we're revising the existing driveway, so it's not being maintained exactly as it is.
But you're still going to have a driveway. Are you going to have a parking spot at the side of the house, or more than one parking spot?
No. So that's what I'm, sorry, through your chair, I'm trying to, I tried to explain. We are required to maintain a 1.1 meter path of travel from the front lot line all the way to the back garden suite. So by doing that, we are no longer able to park on the side of the house. So it's just not possible to do so. So it's only going to be a walkway.
So there'll be so the only legal parking spot will be the one you're requesting?
Correct, in the front yard.
Wow.
The driveway as well. They're parking in the driveway.
We'll get to you. Okay, so what you're proposing is one legal parking spot, and you're saying that you can't park. Okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be possible to park vehicles on the side. No longer, it's just not possible.
Okay, because of the path of travel for fire purposes.
Correct.
Okay, that's all I wanted to clarify. Thank you. Any other questions? No? Okay.
Chair, I do want actually confirmation of this. So you're here today to request 2 variances. Variance 1 and 4 have been eliminated. You're here today asking only for 1 parking space in the front yard and a reduction to the driveway from 2 meters to 1.62 meters. That's what you're here for today. Only those two things, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. That's it. The driveway is a driveway. The one parking spot in the front yard is a one parking spot in the front yard. Correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We have other speakers. I think Paul McDonald is first.
Staff, put the picture up. Appreciate it. No, a picture on PDF. Oh, 20 CARDELL Avenue. I did send in 4, but only 1 showed up. That's it. Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chair and committee members. My name is Paul McDonald, and I reside at 20 CARDELL Avenue. I'm also one of the co-chairs for the Local Residents Association, SARA. I'm here today to strongly oppose the variance requests for the front yard parking pad, illegal front yard parking pad at 36 PAULART Drive. This application completely fails the statutory tests required under Section 45(1) of the Planning Act. Test 1, maintaining the general intent and purpose of the official plan. The applicant is basing his restrictions for widening the driveway due to the location of a hydro pole. The applicant admits the driveway is adequate in width and length, which complies with the city's minimum requirements for parking space. If the hydro pole is in the way of a driveway widening, then the owner can have the pole relocated at his expense. The applicant claims the existing driveway orientation and characteristics of the lot are an impediment. 99.9% of the homes on that street and abroad mirror 36 PAULART Drive. The proposal isn't in character of nearby properties, as over half of the lawn is currently gone and vehicles are parking perpendicular to the existing driveway. This proposal does not respect and reinforce the prevailing character of the neighborhood. It is changing it. The applicant did not have to provide parking plans to the city when he applied for a permit to build his multiplex and garden suite as of right. Why now after the fact? Test 2, maintain the general intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. Yes, this property may permit a variety of residential dwelling types such as multiplex and a garden suite. However, the applicant came up short on parking and is trying to accommodate after the fact. While parking is not a zoning requirement for the garden suite, however, it's desirable. The applicant claims the extra parking space would reduce parking enforcement issues on site. Nothing could be further from the truth. Since the illegal pad went in early March, residents continue to see vehicles parked illegally in front of that property on PAULART Drive. Parking enforcement has been called several times with tickets issued. Variance 2 permits a soft landscape area of 43%. The bylaw states 75%. Judging by the size of that current illegal pad, it easily takes up 80% of the lawn. It even encroaches onto city property. See the water shutoff valve, at least 2 feet over. The applicant built the current pad illegally. What is stopping him from, if he gets permission for one parking spot, that he doesn't widen it illegally later? Test 3, desirable for the appropriate development of the land. The existing driveway can accommodate several cars from the front of the dwelling to the end of the driveway / street. There are typically 3 vehicles that park on that property at a time. More than enough space in the existing driveway at 7.8 meters. The applicant knew the existing zoning bylaws state that parking is not required for a garden suite in the City of Toronto. He should have taken this into account for his decision to build one. He admits to restrictions and limitations of the property. He constructed the pad for the garden suite illegally. Now he wants it grandfathered in. Minor in nature. As a 28-year resident, I totally disagree that that the premise that this proposal for 1, 2, 3 front lawn parking spaces respects the existing character of the neighborhood. Creating a parking space on a front lawn that is perpendicular to all existing driveways on a street does not respect the neighborhood. It sticks out like a sore thumb. It is nonconformist with the typical flow of a suburban neighborhood. Covering part of a lawn with aggregate or asphalt does not respect. It stands out. The area has an issue with drainage. Many a basement has been flooded over years, including 36 and 38 PAULART Drive. Removing quarter, half, 3/4 of a lawn as parking only adds to drainage headaches in the area. In closing, this variant for any front lawn parking pad / parking is precedent setting. It will open the floodgates literally, forever changing the character and flow of suburbia. It is my and many a neighbor's hope this major variance request is denied. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't go away. Any questions? No?
Sure, I have a question. Can you kindly tell me, you indicated to us that the front yard parking space was created.
Illegally.
It was created. It's asphalt. Is that correct?
No, it's
Crushed stone?
crushed stone, I believe, which is going into the neighbor's yard.
Is the rest of the front yard sodded or grass? or
I'd
green?
say, well, it's on the right of way.
Have you
the city.
seen the site plan on file?
I have, yeah.
Does the site plan on file represent what's out there today? I know that the boulevard.
I'd say no.
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 So you don't feel that
Listen, when I put in the service request to have this investigated, the bylaw officer issued four
I just want to be
violations.
clear. I just want to be clear about.
This was done illegally. Parking pads are illegal.
Okay, we got that. You've said that several
I
times
just
now.
want to understand, you saw the site plan on file, which now shows one parking spot.
No, he has 2, and he's been using 2 since early March illegally.
Okay. I'm
I
trying
know
to assist you here.
community
I'm trying-
planning advised
Excuse
him.
me. I'm trying to assist you, okay?
Yeah.
And make it clear to me and perhaps to my colleagues. The site plan on file shows one parking space. What he's applying for today shows one front yard parking space. What I want to know from
I
you
understand.
as a neighbor, that parking spot is there, okay? It may not be exactly as it's on the site plan, but I
It's
would
there
like to know,
illegally.
I would like to know if on either side of that parking space, there's grass, and on the south side, if it's grass.
Okay.
Is the whole front yard? Can
No,
you put the?
currently, 3/4 of that
We
front
put the
lawn
site
is
plan up.
gravel. No, I know what you're saying. He initially asked for 2. Community planning suggested 1. However, currently, 3/4 of that lawn, if not 80%, is in gravel. I don't care what the drawing says.
no,
It's
no.
current.
I'm asking you a question.
And then the backyard, he removed all the grass.
Okay, well, we're not necessarily approving what is current there. We're approving what's on the drawings. So
There's 2 drawings.
if,
Residents received this with the 2-car pad, and then as of June 26th,
It's been
he submitted
revised.
that one.
correct,
Why didn't the residents get this? I asked Annanelle, or whatever her name is, how come residents got this?
it is
And then
available to you online, actually.
Well, not all people can access
Understood.
it online.
Are-
But
are you-
currently, sir,
Are you willing to answer some questions
Yeah.
of yourself? Just
but if he would
down
move
myself.
that hydro pole, he could go into the front lawn.
thank you, Chair.
Okay. If there are no other questions, thank you.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, Manik Verma, who is on your list, does not appear virtually. Let me just quickly double check one more time if they have come in the meantime. No, they haven't, but we have a Diane Barrington in person.
In person, okay.
Hi, good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Diane Brereton. I live at 21 Downing Street, and I have lived in this neighborhood for 38 years, virtually my entire life. So thank you for allowing me to speak. I understand that before approving a minor variance, a committee must be satisfied that the variance is minor, and that it is appropriate for the development of the land, that it maintains the intent of the zoning bylaw, and that it maintains the intent of official plan. I respectfully submit that this application does not meet those tests. This is not a simple request for additional parking. In my opinion, it is a result of a property that has already been significantly intensified. A modest bungalow has been converted into multiple residential units and now includes a detached garden suite, which is not required to have a parking spot in the City of Toronto. The request for a front yard parking is a consequence of trying to fit more development onto the lot than it can reasonably accommodate. I understand from the applicant's own planning materials that the front yard parking request is being justified because of the location of an existing hydro pole. If that is the case, I respectfully ask that whether all reasonable alternatives have been explored before seeking relief from the zoning bylaw. If the hydro pole is the obstacle, then perhaps that obstacle should be addressed rather than permanently reducing the landscape front yard. I do not believe the existence of a utility pole on its own justifies changing the intent of zoning bylaw. I also understand that a garden suite is not required to have its own parking space under the city's current rules. If parking for a garden suite is not required, then I question why the removal of additional front yard landscaping is necessary in order to accommodate it. At which point, there's two cars parked on that illegal pad every day. So the city's front yard landscaping requirements exist for good reason. They preserve green space, reduce stormwater runoff, and maintain the character of established neighborhoods. Those are not outdated rules. They continue to serve an important planning process today. I'm also concerned about the precedent. If variances like these become commonplace, they will gradually transform the appearance and function of neighborhoods like ours. Individually, each application may seem minor, but together they represent a significant cumulative change. Finally, I respectfully ask the committee to consider whether this application truly satisfies the 4 tests required for a minor variance. In my opinion, it does not. I do believe the variance is minor in its impact, but I do not believe it is appropriate for this site, and I do not believe it maintains either the intent of zoning bylaw or the official plan. For these reasons, I respectfully request that the application be refused. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Any questions from panel members?
Yeah, if I may. I noticed there are numerous double driveways in front of single-car garages on this and many other streets. So is your real issue that the side of the vehicle will be street-facing as opposed to
I have
the back?
pictures on what I sent in. Can you pull up some of the pictures on mine? Oh, I sent them.
This is your letter, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see pictures attached to your letter.
Can you you can't look them here.
Let me check it.
It's basically the whole front lawn is taken up by gravel, and, okay, so the driveway's there, the cars are parked perpendicular along. That's not the way, it,
As you can see on the screen, it came in as that.
oh, that all, oh, geez.
Yeah, we can't,
Okay.
we can't accept JPEG.
Yeah, okay,
It's not going to help me anyway. It's not going to help me anyway.
yep.
Just essentially, my question is this. You're aware of double driveways in front of single garages, quite common on this street and others. Okay?
Yep.
So that widened driveway portion is in essence a parking space on the property. It's not where the driveway used to be. It's been doubled. So there's two.
It's not been doubled, sir. It is.
Yeah,
it
no,
is-
a double
it is-
driveway accommodates 2 cars,
Yeah.
at least, maybe 4, depending.
This will now accommodate the driveway, which is 1 car, and boom, boom, 2 on the pad.
Well, he's only proposing 1.
Yeah, but it's there. It's there already.
I know, but if we approve this, he's only entitled to one, and if he continues using two, you call 311, you call property standards, you call parking enforcement, whatever you have to do.
But he's already proved
if
that
we
he's
approve
he's
this.
made this illegal already, so
Well, he'll have to undo it. If we approve this, he's only entitled to one.
why is it not undone now? Because it hasn't even been approved.
Well, I think this change was very recent.
June 26th. Bylaws enforcing the bylaws.
Okay, what's the question, Don?
I'm just wondering if there's an issue do you have an issue with double wide driveways on this street?
No, not if they're flowing in the same direction.
If,
Hey, this is a public hearing, not a town hall meeting, not a game show, okay? We speak only to the person at the microphone, without interruption. Thank you.
okay,
So, that's just my basic question.
yeah. So if you're keeping the flow of the neighborhood and everything else, yeah, double car parking, fine.
So
But,
that's what a lot of the neighborhood looks
but-
like, and that's
Yeah,
okay.
and I think the reason he
but
can't,
they're not perpendicular to the home, to the house.
and the reason he can't do that is because of the hydro pole. And
And that
basically,
can be moved.
and the previous speaker was basically saying if you move the hydro pole, they don't have an issue with it being,
I had a home in the city of Toronto, and I needed to get a driveway put and changed. I had to go through the process to Toronto Hydro, and it's able to be done. This man is not doing it. It's easier to just make a pad on the lot.
okay, I think we kind of got the point there.
Chair, I did have a question.
You have a question as well. Go ahead.
Thank you so much for speaking to us. I tried to ask the speaker before you a very simple question, and I'm wondering if you can help me answer the
I'll
question.
try.
So, I understand that perhaps one or two vehicles from time to time are parked in the front yard. My question is very simple. Have they incorporated anything in the front yard which comes close to being identified as sod, green grass, landscaping of any kind?
Just where the ditch is.
Just, sorry?
Where the ditch is.
Just with a ditch. So
Yeah.
that's not his property.
That's,
The only grass, green grass on that property is in the front yard, which is part of the road allowance. In other words, the whole front yard, their front yard is
Gravel.
gravel.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
there's a Google Maps view, actually.
Yeah.
That's what I was trying to.
Yeah.
Which,
Chair, that's what I was trying to confirm with the gentleman before, but he
Which
kept
w-
interrupting me. But
Which will
thank you
in
for giving
turn-
me the advice.
sorry, which will in turn really alter the drainage and everything and if this one variance is allowed, then it's gone through
Thank you.
everywhere and our place will be a mess. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Manik Verma, who wasn't online when I checked last, has appeared online now,
Okay,
so I can unmute them. Manik Verma, you are now unmuted.
Yeah, hello, can you hear me?
yep,
Yeah, perfect. Okay. Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Manik Verma, and I live at 11 Downing Street, which is just around the corner from the subject property. I'm here to object to the application for 36 PAULART Drive, and I respectfully ask that it be refused. So my first point is that this is not a normal minor variance request. The owner is FHL Industries Limited, a corporation, and this appears to be an after-the-fact attempt to legitimize front yard parking. The city's own zoning review says clearly that a parking space may not be located in the front yard, and the proposed parking spot is in the front yard. And it also says the proposed driveway is only 1.62 meters wide, where 2 meters is required. So the applicant is not asking for a minor technical adjustment. Second point is that the variance builds on an already intensified property. The parking need appears to be caused by the intensified use of the property. In other words, the owner has created or is operating a property with multiple units and is now asking to push the parking problem onto the front yard. My third point is that this is not minor when viewed cumulatively. The property already has multiple apartments, garden suite, and existing driveway. Now the applicant wants front yard parking as well. At some point, the question is not, excuse me, is not whether each individual variance seems small on paper. The question is whether the property has been overdeveloped beyond what the lot and the street and the neighborhood can reasonably support. So in my view, this fails the 4 tests. It is not minor. Lastly, there's also a precedent concern. If this is approved, other landlords or corporations with intensified properties can say, I also need front yard parking because I have more tenants and more cars, which would gradually turn landscaped front yards into parking pads in the future. Other residents have legitimately raised concerns about flooding, stormwater, loss of green space, and neighborhood character. Those concerns are not hypothetical, in my view. They're exactly why front yard landscaping rules and front yard parking restrictions exist. So for those reasons, I respectfully ask the committee to refuse the application. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? No? Okay, any other deputants?
Maybe
I don't believe so, Mr. Chair. We can go back to. No, James Nichol is not online.
Okay, so,
Let me just refresh, just before we, no.
okay, so let's go back to the applicant or the agent, Matthew.
Thank you. I'll address some of the comments that have been made. So regarding the current site conditions, is my understanding that what was previously done was to mitigate and control mud during construction with the hopes to create legal spaces. However, through this process, the owner has realized that more than one spot will not be possible.
Is that it?
Front yard. Pardon?
Sorry, you just cut out on us.
Oh, what was the last thing that you heard?
More than one spot is not possible.
More than one spot is not possible, but rather the revised proposal would require the owner to reinstate the front yard to comply with the approved plans. Regarding drainage, this is a technical concern partially controlled by the requirement of green space. And as previously stated, we've revised the proposal so that we comply with green space and no additional variances required. Regarding, and yeah, it's only a single space. There would actually be more impact if we were to move the hydro pole and create a 2-car width driveway by widening it. I think that addresses most of the concerns raised.
Okay, I've got,
Yeah, no.
if you're done, I have a few questions, and I think some of the panel members do as well. So when you went for the application to get your garden suite, this is a multiplex as well?
Yes, the main structure and then the garden suite in the back.
Okay, so when those approvals were granted, how many parking spaces existed on site before those approvals were granted?
I believe you could legally fit 3 down the side.
Okay, so when you apply to be a multiplex, I believe there's a requirement that you can't reduce the number of parking spaces you already legally have. So did you get a variance to reduce those spaces?
I was not part of that application. I've been hired as consultant to fix the current situation.
So you have no idea?
So I'm unaware.
Okay. Thanks, Mr. Gully. I think you have a question.
Chair, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can you kindly tell me, why do you need, or maybe confirm for me, or restate, why do you need the extra parking spot in the front yard? For what purpose?
Yeah, through you, Chair, if I can, if you can pull up, if we look at the site plan, it's no longer.
I haven't asked you, about the site plan. I can see on the site plan. Is there demand for parking because of the additional unit that has been constructed in the rear yard and the conversion of the main building? Is that it? You need additional parking to accommodate tenants or people who reside in the new rear yard unit and/or in the primary house. Is that correct?
So it's not a need, it's just desirable that we maintain at least one parking space.
Desirable.
Yeah.
But do you not have one parking space in the existing driveway?
Not fully on our site. So the parking requirement space would not permit us to actually fit it with the single access driveway.
Okay,
Once we
but if you're,
because of
okay,
the 1 meter.
let me rephrase that question. If you park the car on private property partially and partially on the front boulevard, which is part of the existing driveway, you could accommodate a car there, it just wouldn't be legal.
No, sorry, maybe I'm misunderstanding. The issue is, in order to create the 1.1 meter path of travel, we aren't able to create the parking space there any longer. So by altering the driveway, we're able to still provide at least one parking space on this site.
Okay. I'm confused. If you park a car perpendicular to where you're proposing to put that one parking spot now, you're not blocking the path of travel, and you have a parking spot, do you not?
According to the requirements, we would be blocking the path of travel. Yes, you can walk around the vehicle, but the definition is unobstructed path of travel. And there just isn't enough space, which is why the variance for the reduction in width is required so that we can access the parking space.
So why wouldn't you put a parking space in the driveway and go for a variance for an obstructed parking space width? Rather than
Because it
paving
won't
your front
fit on the
yard?
property, it would encroach onto the boulevard.
No, it won't. Your site plan shows 7.66 meters of length and 2.72 meters of width. You have the length. The width would be a variance because you need what? 2.6 for unobstructed, so you add 0.3 for one side of obstruction. You have that, you apply for that instead of.
Again, I think that in speaking with planning staff, it's just impossible so even if we got a variance for reduced width, you cannot park in that space any vehicle without encroaching onto the 1.1 meter path of travel. That's the issue.
You could if you were encroaching onto the boulevard, is that right?
Correct.
Yeah, that's illegal, but no one tags for that anyway.
Well, sorry, I need to make a correction. Not entirely. We need to widen the driveway to physically maintain the 1.1 meter path. The issue is the 1.1 meter path of travel. If we were to put a vehicle on that driveway space, the existing driveway space directly in front of the site access, it wouldn't be possible without encroaching onto the 1.1 meter requirement. That's what I'm trying to explain.
But you're not showing a path for your proposed parking space either.
Yes, so travel, you can see the no travel distance proposed fire access. That hatch is illustrating the path of travel, and the 1.1 meter is measured close to the corner of the dwelling.
No, you show grass on either side of the parking space.
Maybe I'm describing it so on the side lot line, you can see from the site access, so from the driveway access, there is a path of travel from that corner of the lot, the front corner of the lot, all the way to the front door of the rear garden suite. So that pathway is illustrated at 1.1 meter in width, encroaching into the 2.72 meter setback. And I'm saying what's left is not physically possible to park a vehicle there without encroaching onto the 1.1 meter.
Okay, realistically, what's to stop a second car being parked behind the parking pad anyway?
Enforcement. If anybody were to call and complain, just like they have been, they can be ticketed, and that's by law enforcement.
Chair, may I ask one other question? I'm sorry, I know I have my turn
Go ahead,
speaking,
no.
but another question came to mind. I'm just trying to see if we can get more information so that we might be able to make a good decision on this matter. Can you kindly tell me what kind of parking demand does the garden suite require?
Sorry, was that addressed to me, the applicant?
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry. I mean, the answer is it doesn't. Any tenant in this either unit, they aren't required to have a parking space on this property. It's just desirable for the landowner.
Is the unit now occupied, the garden suite?
I believe it is, and as neighbors have noted, they're currently parking in the front yard.
So they
But
do
again,
have,
this will
they do
have
have
to
a
be
car.
revised.
They do have a car.
Why can't you provide a rear yard parking space?
So we tried to provide that. It would cause issues with the path of travel and making sure that it's maintained unobstructed. The other issue was maneuverability. So is it possible? Yes, it was just very impractical. And the owner decided we just don't want to provide it back there and have to deal with, unobstructing that path of travel.
But can't your path of travel be on the south side of the
It
building?
could.
And that would
Yes,
solve all
technically
of your
it could.
problems.
Not all of our problems, but yes, it could.
Well, you park in the driveway and your path of travel to the garden suite is on the other side of the building, not in the driveway.
Follow-up question, Chair.
Sorry, I misunderstood that.
It looks like we're designing stuff at the committee today.
Chair, I have a following question. What's the parking requirement for the garden suite?
None.
I'm asking the applicant, the applicant agent, what is the parking requirement for a garden suite?
None.
Zero? Can you
Zero.
confirm? Correct, thank you.
Dominic, the frustrating part I find about this is that that site would have had 1 or 2 legal parking spaces before it was converted to a multiplex. So what happened to those spaces? Yeah, I know, but by doing that, then they would have had to have had a variance to not maintain their existing parking, right?
So if I can speak candidly, I believe that maybe that was an oversight in the issuance of the garden suite building permit, the 1.1 meter access. And that I can only predict. Again, I wasn't part of that process.
Okay, but you know what? You do have a viable option here. You provide a path of travel on the, what's the direction here? On the south side of the building, and then you can park as many cars as you want on the existing driveway.
Full depth of the lot.
I hear your argument, but
Mr. Chair, I believe the
can
applicant
I-
wants
I'm
to
just
proceed
gonna
with it the
double
way
check
it
the
is.
setback.
And you've
Yeah.
heard everybody, so now it's time to make a decision.
Okay? Just, the only point I'm making is that this is not a unsolvable situation, that this is not the only way it needs to be resolved. So that perhaps might be a way to kick off the discussion. Anyone else?
No.
No? Anyone ready for a motion?
Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion. Just opening up my site plan again, Chair. Chairman, on the revised application for variances 2 and 3, eliminating 1 and 4, I have reviewed each of the 2 variances, and in my assessment, the application to permit front yard parking space is not appropriate and is not desirable. It fails on those two counts for me, so I'm moving that the application be refused.
Seconder?
I'll second that with a comment that there are other superior options that can be pursued to address the applicant's needs
Thank
there.
you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay. It's on the amended, it doesn't really matter. On the amended application, the application is refused.
Thank you, committee members.
Thank you. Thank you to the deputants. Okay, moving on. Item 21,
Sorry, Mr. Chair, what was the motion
to refuse.
and who first and second?
Dominic Gully and Donald Taylor.
Thank you.
See you, Bill. So item 21 is 5359 Dundas Street West. This is an application to construct, it relates to a building for a 50-story mixed-use building. There is one variance being requested. There are 3 letters of objection, and we have the agent online, I'm assuming.
That's correct, Mr. Chairman. We have the agent online and the person underneath them on the list. The other 2 people are not present,
Okay, that's,
unless someone showed up in the hearing room, but I don't believe so.
okay. So if we can get, is it Mitch?
Yep, it's Mitch.
Okay, if we can get your presentation, please.
Yeah, sure. So I have a document I submitted called C of A presentation, if you wouldn't mind calling that up. And my name is Mitch Gascoigne. Address is 134 Peter Street. I'm a partner at Center Court Developments, and I'm the applicant.
Okay, given that there's some opposition to this, I think it's in your favor to give us a presentation. If you want to do just questions, we're fine with that, but I would suspect you would want to state your case.
No. Yeah, absolutely. I have a presentation that I submitted. Can you please call it up? I emailed it to Thomas on Tuesday. It's titled C of A presentation.
1 second. I think I sent it to the AT. Just give me 1 second.
It's not an additional. No. I don't see it in the original package either.
So Mitch, I remember sending you an email to send it before Tuesday. I'm trying to look.
No, I sent it on Tuesday. I have it open right now.
Yeah, I don't have it on my end. Interesting.
Can we move on to item 22 and come back to this one? I don't know, because let's give it a couple of minutes. I also have a proposal to amalgamate 2 items, so I don't know.
Mitch, can you tell us what time on Tuesday you sent that email?
11:10 a.m.
10 a.m.?
11:10 a.m.
11:10. And did you send that to the general mailbox?
No, I sent it to Thomas.
So Mitch, the last email I have from you was at 10:44, just confirming that you will be attending virtually and you'll get the materials in advance of the deadline. And then the next email I have from you was at 12:41. Just that was from today. So there seemed to be a email because I don't have anything from you.
Well, I don't know why I didn't get through it. I'm looking at my outbox. I can try and give it verbally, and I think the impact will come across when I just describe it instead of looking at the pictures. And I just don't, it'd be nice if you guys could see. So SN Impact is a partnership between Six Nations Development Corporation, Center Court, and DREAM. Six Nations is an Indigenous group located just west of Toronto, and they're the majority owner of SN Impact. Center Court, who I'm a partner of, is one of the largest developers in the city of Toronto and has developed 12,000 units over the last 16 years of our existence. And DREAM is a public-facing real estate REIT, and we're all invested in this project. But most importantly, it's majority owned by the Six Nations. This project includes 178 affordable units. It's a purpose-built rental project owned by the Six Nations, and it has 31% affordable housing. There's 178 affordable units. The affordable housing meets the tests of the City of Toronto 30% AMR requirements. It's funded by CMHC, Affordable Housing Fund, and has already been approved for that funding, and is also receiving development charge waivers through the ARCHU program, the City of Toronto. In addition to the 178 affordable units, there's also 393 market units. It was zoned in 2024 and included permissions for 50 stories and GFA and unit counts and setbacks with nothing that needs to be changed. The variance is only to do with the amount of retail. The amount of non-residential space. The non-residential space currently in the bylaw is approximately 740 square meters. And what we're asking for is that to be reduced. The reason we're asking for it to be reduced is because as a purpose-built rental project, we need to provide a leasing office. The leasing office doesn't meet the requirement of non-residential space. We want to locate that on the second floor. If you can call up the architectural plans perhaps and flash up the ground floor. I think it's really important to note that during zoning, it was really important to staff and ourselves as we went through the process to maintain animation along Dundas Street. So for that reason, we located the lobby of the building around the corner on Subway Crescent. On Dundas, there's a large retail space, and that's not being disturbed. When you have a rental building, you have a leasing office, and the leasing office in a lot of cases is located on the ground floor. We're not asking to put it on the ground floor. The permissions that were secured in the original zoning were such that retail was required on both the ground floor and the second floor. And the second floor in this instance is at a height of about 7 meters. So we don't want to put the leasing on the ground floor. We also don't want to reduce the amount of affordable housing. So what did we look to do? We wanted to reduce the amount of non-residential space up on the second floor and provide the leasing office there. And that's the reason that we're asking for the reduction in non-residential space. You'll see that in our letter, it says it's both for leasing and amenity space. And the reason for that is when you're leasing up a building, sometimes you'll locate the amenity space directly adjacent to the leasing office so that, when you're walking through the building that you can see that, people are using the amenities that are offered. The project is owned by Six Nations. It's going to prioritize Indigenous groups, starting with the Six Nations and other Indigenous groups in the area. If those folks if there's still more units after that, then we'll use the City of Toronto's priority access system to place other folks in the building. It's a really positive project. Like I said, CMHC, City of Toronto, are all supportive of it. You'll note that planning staff didn't submit a letter, which typically means that they have no objections and I would dare say are in support of it. And I'm happy to answer any questions. We're really excited to do this. DREAM and Center Court are building affordable housing in multiple locations across the City of Toronto. And this is something that we want to get a shovel in the ground, hopefully by the end of this year. Thank you.
Okay, my first question leads from some confusion in your presentation. Is a leasing office not non-residential?
No, it's not. It's considered it's not considered non-residential.
What is it considered?
Residential. It's like a back of house use for residential, just like a lobby would be, for instance.
Okay, that's the part that I found quite confusing. But so then the next part of my question is, why do you need to cut that in half to create the, I mean, is a leasing office going to take up half of the space that you were originally proposing?
If you look at the plans, what we're asking is to reduce it to only be on the ground floor use. Second floor retail retail is currently contemplated on both the first and second floor, and our plan is to focus the retail on the ground floor, do it where it makes sense, where it's going to be successful, and then on the second floor use the extent of that for leasing and amenity spaces. So we're putting it doesn't make sense to us or the project to have a small amount of second floor retail space, and we don't have any room on the ground floor to fit any more ground floor retail.
Okay, there's a letter from MTCC 1018, an objection letter, which points out that it was OLT that required you to have this amount of non-residential space to accommodate some medical offices and other such functions. Can you address that?
Yeah, sure. First of all, we didn't go through the OLT. We went to council. This was a council-supported decision. We worked with staff and the councillor to get it approved. In the back and forth, as we were going through the zoning 2 years ago, during 2024, I think is when it finally got to council, there was a desire of staff to provide first and second floor retail space. The situation has changed. At that time, it was going to be a condo. There wasn't going to be the need for a leasing office. It didn't have affordable housing. And the change in use has demanded that we need to change the way that we're thinking about the second floor. And I would point to the city's emerging policy when you're asking for the reduction of non-residential spaces in this and other areas of the city. What the city asks for is you to consider providing other uses that provide a public benefit, for which affordable housing is certainly a benefit that would meet that requirement. Typically, it's a 25% of the space that you're asking to be reduced would be replaced as something that had a public benefit. We're obviously over providing that by providing a substantial amount of affordable housing in this building.
Okay, but I'm coming back to your actual proposed use. I mean, is leasing office going to occupy 370 square meters?
Basically what we're asking for is the second floor, to be fully allowed to no longer be mandated to use non-residential.
Yeah, and the square footage that you're asking for that reduction is 370 meters, is it not?
The remaining retail would be 370, which would I can't see, maybe I gotta zoom in here. It's a minimum residential a minimum non-residential requirement. And if you look at that plan that's flashed up, the non-residential on the ground floor is 388.4 meters squared. So we're saying we're gonna satisfy that minimum requirement entirely on the ground floor. So we are reducing it to be fully satisfy the ground floor, and the second floor would no longer have non-residential or retail space.
You're kind of skirting what I'm asking, but okay. What's the square footage of because the context you're saying is that you need this for the rental office. So how much square meters is a rental office going to occupy?
What I'm saying is we don't want to provide second floor space. What we want to provide is something that's beneficial to the building, i.e. a leasing office. And
okay, and a leasing office is going where?
In the second floor space.
Okay, how much space is that going to occupy?
We haven't finalized it, but let me if you could flip to the second floor plan, I can tell you, we can look together. So up no, we have up there, so there's 380 square meters of non-residential space on the ground floor. The remaining requirement, I think the total minimum requirement right now is 740. So 740 minus 380. Why can't I do quick math? That's 640. So we would have to find a way to provide the remaining retail up on this space. the retail leasing office, you know, usually they're about 2,000, 2,500 square feet. So call that 200 square meters. That's what I would put up there. And then the rest I would put my amenity space, for which I don't need a variance to put it up there.
Okay. I'm just trying to wrap my head around it. Okay. Any other questions? No. And we have other speakers?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have an Amir Khan, who's second on your list.
No,
So that's a support agent.
that's part of the agent.
Yeah, so,
I don't think he's
I
part of.
see, I see. Understood.
or actually once, let me,
Yeah, he's not associated with me. Sorry, I don't think you
Okay,
muted me.
so
but-
in that case, Amir Khan, I've unmuted you.
Thank you. Hello, I'm actually on for MTCC 1018.
Sorry?
I'm on for MTCC 1018.
Okay, you're representing the condo corp.
Yes.
Is
Can I
that
begin?
for 5359 Dundas or for a different address?
No. Sorry. Give me 1 second. Our address is 101 Subway Crescent.
Thank you.
Okay, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Amir Khan, and I am the representative of Metropolitan Toronto Condominium Corporation number 1018. The corporation owns the condominium immediately south of the subject property. We oppose this application. We respectfully ask that it be refused. Now, this issue can be understood through three numbers: 309, 400, 743, and 370. The applicant originally proposed only 309 square meters of commercial space. At the community consulting meeting, residents raised concerns about losing the medical offices and commercial space that previously existed at the property. In response, the applicant increased the commercial space from 309 to 743 square meters. City planning specifically recognized this change as a response to community and staff concerns. Council then passed a site-specific zoning bylaw. It requires at least 740 square meters of non-residential space. The applicant now wants to reduce that requirement to 370 square meters. That is a 50% reduction. It would return the development to almost the same amount originally proposed. We submit that this application fails the four required tests. First, this variance is not minor. The applicant seeks to remove half of the required commercial space. That is not a small technical adjustment. It changes an important part of the development that council approved. Second, the variance has not been shown to be desirable. The applicant says that the demand for upper level retail may not materialize, but that's a prediction about future market conditions. The applicant seeks permanent zoning relief based on that prediction. A private leasing office and residential amenity space do not provide the same public services, employment opportunities, or community benefits as a commercial space. Third, the variance does not maintain the intent of the zoning bylaw. The 740 square meter requirement was not arbitrary. It was created for this property. It directly responded to concerns about the loss of commercial and medical space. Reducing it by half would reverse that recent planning decision. Finally, the variance does not maintain the intent of the office plan and the Etobicoke Central Secondary Plan. This property is beside the Kipling Transit Hub. The planning policies seek a genuine mixed-use community. They support housing, employment, shopping, and services near transit. Reducing the commercial space by half moves the development away from those objectives. The issue is not whether some commercial space will remain. The issue is whether the applicant should be permitted to remove half of the specific amount that council recently required. The committee is not deciding what is easiest to lease. It is deciding whether the application satisfies the four legal tests. Respectfully, it does not. And MTCC 1018 asks that this application be refused. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from committee members?
Just a comment. I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the Community Planning Department did not provide us with any comments, positive or negative, on this application. Just pointing that out. I don't expect a response.
Just a question on your property on Subway Crescent. Your building does also provide retail uses within it?
I believe so, yes, on the second floor. And if I'm not mistaken, the buildings surrounding this property, the majority of them have commercial properties on the second floor.
Is the residential tower sits on a podium, 2-story, 3-story podium of retail and offices? Can you please describe it for me?
I'm sorry, I don't have the specific information to describe that.
I thought you were on the board.
No, I'm not. I'm a lawyer for the building.
Thank you.
Okay, if there's no other questions, I believe we have other speakers.
Mr. Chairman, those other speakers are not present.
Oh, okay. So then we'll come back to the applicant.
Chair, may I ask a question of the applicant again?
Why don't you let him do his rebuttal, and then you can ask away whatever you want.
Oh,
okay.
Hi there. Happy to answer any questions. I think what the point is that, you know, we went and got a zoning bylaw. The way that the building is going to be constructed changed. It used to be a purpose-built condo building. Now it's a purpose-built rental building with an affordability focus. The public good that's being done in this building is substantially more than the minimum required in the bylaw. During the back and forth of the zoning bylaw negotiations and passage at council, we certainly settled on an amount of commercial space that planning asked for. But you'll note through the lack of an opposition letter from planning staff that they feel no need to oppose what we're proposing here. There is the request that we're making is that we still provide the retail that is at grade. We just don't want to do it on the second floor because we have a better use that fulfills the need of the building. In our South Neighbors building, the MTCC, you asked if there's retail. There isn't. I have no issue with there not being retail in their apartment building, but there's not. It's not on Dundas. I wouldn't say that was appropriate if I was developing it, but there is still retail being provided here. Really want to get this variance so that we can move forward, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I think we do have some questions, Mr. Gully.
So my question is, thank you so much for that. My question is, what will you do with the other 370 square meters?
We'll wait until usually what we do is we construct the building, we'll try and lease up afterwards. So this one is, like I said, the majority owner is the Six Nations, so they would have the most input into what we do. But the plan would be to build it, put in some retail that we think is going to be successful for the long-term use, and hold on to the retail space, lease it out, have it be an additional amenity to the community and the folks that are going to live in the building.
In your view, in your professional view, does reducing it from 740 to 370 change the spirit of what council approved for this 50-story building and associated uses?
No, absolutely not. Like, I think, you know, in this presentation that I had some renders. Like the real requirement is, do we have animated uses along Dundas on the first and second level? And absolutely we do. We're going to have retail at grade. We're going to have amenity and leasing office, which is publicly accessible. Hopefully a lot of folks are going to come in and want to lease a unit in the building. And we're going to still have a substantial amount of non-residential. We still have 370 square meters. That's like almost 5,000 square feet. And Dundas is going to be animated. We don't have second floor use. And the honest truth is that doesn't really change the thrust of what's being offered. It just means that we're doing something different on the second floor.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? No, and no other speakers?
That's correct, Mr. Chair.
Okay, so let's take it into committee. Any discussion?
So, Mr. Chairman, I don't believe that what's being requested here does change the spirit of what council approved. I think it's in concert with the secondary plan, the Etobicoke Center plan, changing this floor area from the requirement of 740 for non-residential to 370 in my view, is nominal. In my view, it's nominal, and it doesn't really change the overall development that council approved.
Okay, fair. The only comment I would make is that there's really no reason why the developer can't build it as originally approved. And if they find they have difficulty in leasing out that space as commercial, they could always come back to us then too. I don't know why they're presupposing they're going to have difficulty with it, but anyway, that's my comment. Anyone ready for a motion?
Chairman, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Gully.
Chairman, I did take the opportunity to review the Bosfield report, the report dated June 8th, 2026, justification report. And not necessarily that report convinced me to make this motion in any way, but I think the justification report did provide me with the data, the information to attempt to make a knowledgeable decision on this. And having reviewed that, and with the knowledge that city planning does not object to what is being proposed here, council approved this application originally. This change, in my view, is minor, it's appropriate, and it's desirable because things could change. Therefore, I'm going to move approval with no conditions.
Okay, is there a seconder?
Second that, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Don, all in favor? Opposed? I'm going to vote in favor. It's okay. I could have gone either way on this one. Okay, so that's unanimous approval, and let's get Bill out of the doghouse. Thank you to the applicant and the deputant. Okay, so our next item, 22, is 29 Woolton Crescent, and then item 23 is 27 Woolton Crescent, and I notice the applicant is the same for both items. So I'm just wondering if we can ask the applicant if they'd be adverse to treating both items as one.
Yes, correct. My name is Pedro Berjavand. I'm on behalf of the applicant Victor de Torre, who could not make this meeting due to being out of country.
I don't want you to get into the application yet. Are you okay if we combine the two files? Yep. Okay.
Yeah, I am. Yep.
All right. So 29 Woolton Crescent and 27 Woolton Crescent, both of these are applications to construct a new detached dwelling with an attached garage. And in both cases, 6 variances are being requested. And in both cases, we have the same support petitions of 16 signatures. And I will turn it over to you now.
Sure. So do you need a presentation?
I don't think so. Do we have any other speakers? No. Okay, no, maybe just a brief overview. I don't think we need a presentation.
So first, let's start in order with 29 Woolton. And if you can pull up the supporting material that we have, there is the title of the file should be supporting material site 29. It should be a site plan. You scroll down, there should be an illustrated site plan.
So we have two different owners, though. Are these projects being done together, or?
Yes, correct. The reason is the legal matters, that one is the individual, one is the corporate, but.
Okay, so
Yep. So, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so if you zoom in into that site plan that you just have, so we illustrated all the variances. So the variance number 1 is the coverage, which we're over. The permitted is 3%, and the proposed coverage is. You give me a second. We are 34.5. The second item, which is shown in the cyan color here is the minimum rear yard setback, which the record is 9.85 and the proposed is 8.25, which as you can see, is just a corner of the building, and this is in the result of the irregular geometry shape of the lot, which the rear side lot line is not parallel to the building. The third variance is the required side yard setback, which is 1.8, and the proposed is 1.35 from the north side and 0.65 from the south side. On the north side, as you can see, again, this is the result of that irregular shaped lot, and that 1.35 is only at the front, and as the building goes toward the back, we have a wider side yard. At the south side, the encroachment to the setback is only at the one-story garage, which is a non-occupied space. And as we pass the garage, the building, the two-story building sets back, and we're within the required setback. The fourth variance is the building length, which the permitted is 17 and the proposed is 18.9. Again, this is the same reason of having that irregular shaped lot, and the way that the center line of the lot is calculated basically wouldn't allow us to be within the required building length. The fifth variance is the building depth, which is 19 permitted, and the proposed is 19.8 meter. With the same reasoning as variance number 4. And then the variance 6 is the roof's eaves projection, which is permitted to be 0.9, and it is projected 1.49 to the side yard setback, which again, this is because of the one-story garage encroachment into the side yard, and the actual roof eaves is still within the proper distance from the lot line.
Okay, I think we kind of get it. So if you're open to questions, if we could take it to that.
Sure.
Any questions? Panel members, no?
Well, just to be clear, when you were going through item number 3, you said the north side lot line would be 0.65, but the variance is 0.61. Is it still 0.61?
0.61, correct. That's the south side, and then the north is 1.35.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any questions? So we're dealing with both 29 and 27 Woolton together. Any questions on either of the two files? No? No speakers? No?
No,
one here?
Mr. Chair.
No. Okay, so
I can table a motion if no one else wants to, or?
go ahead.
Okay. Okay, so this is a motion with respect to both 27 and 29 Woolton Crescent. I find both applications meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act, and I move approval without conditions.
Okay, is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
I'll give it to Natalia this time. All in favor? Okay, unanimous approval for both. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we want to take a 10-minute break, or do you want to keep going? Keep going? Okay.
5 to go.
All right, so item 24, this is 4, 6, yeah, 4, 6, 8, and 10 Beamish Drive. This is an application to alter the development standards as outlined in an OLT bylaw to accommodate a 44-story mixed-use building containing 521 residential units. There are 5 variances being requested. There is a planning report provided for information, and we have presentation material provided in the added material. Okay, Andrew Hanford, welcome. Anytime you're ready, we will need a presentation.
I do have a presentation if you
Okay.
could. I did submit it. I checked the time on Monday.
Yeah, no, I've seen it.
Okay.
Additional materials.
I'll start while it's being loaded
Sure.
up, maybe. So good evening, Chair and members of the committee. My name is Andrew Hannaford. I'm an associate with MHPC Planning. I'm here today on behalf of our client, 4 to 10 BEAMISH Incorporated, for their property at 4, 6, 8, and 10 BEAMISH Drive in Etobicoke. This application seeks approval of 5 variances, all technical in nature, intended to finalize site plan approval for a mixed-use development previously approved by the OLT. I would note that planning staff did submit a report, not in opposition, but for information of the committee. We have been working quite closely with planning staff through the site plan for this file over the last year. And I would like to briefly explain the variances and why they're appropriate for approval. Next slide, please. The subject lands are located on the west side of Beamish Drive, mid-block between Bloor and Dundas in the 6 Points area. The site's currently occupied by 4 existing low-rise buildings and surface parking. The surrounding area, as you know, is being redeveloped at quite a rapid pace due to proximity to Kipling Station and the 6 Points redevelopment project undertaken by the city. The shopping plaza adjacent to the west of our site is currently under development for towers of heights of 10 to 45 stories. Next slide, please. The subject lands are designated mixed-use areas in the OP, mixed-use areas A within the Etobicoke Center secondary plan. Both of these encourage mixed-use development and residential intensification in transit-supportive locations. This property is also located within the Kipling PMTSA, where both provincial and city policies support this higher density development. Next slide, please. In February of 2025, the OLT approved the redevelopment of this site for a 44-story mixed-use building with ground floor commercial. That approval established the overall planning framework, including the approved height, density, and built form on the site. Since that time, the previous owner sold the site to my client, the current owner, and we've spent the past year working very closely with city planning staff through site plan approval. As we've done this, architectural, structural, mechanical, and building code work has been undertaken and been finalized. Through this, several refinements were identified that could not have been anticipated by the previous owner through the zoning approval process, and that's why we're here before you today. Next slide, please. I do want to clarify that nothing we're discussing today increases the number of stories, the density, or increases the massing of this building. These changes are necessary to construct the building and actually reduce the mass of the building in effect. They slightly reduce the density and they improve the conditions of the outdoor spaces on the site, including the privately owned public space connection through the south side of the site. As you can see on this slide, which compares the OLT approved massing to what we're currently proposing through site plan, we removed many of the steps in the podium. We've pulled the building back towards the tower. This was necessary to construct the podium, but also opens up the site to let more light in, reduce shadowing, improve wind conditions, and improve the quality of the outdoor and pop space on the site. The additional height in the mechanical penthouse is also fully integrated into the building facade, so from the street level, it will read quite similar to what was approved previously. With respect to each of the variances, next slide, please. The first relates to the minimum non-residential floor area. So through the OLT approved bylaw, it was set at 240 square meters. We are requesting a reduction to 200. This 40 square meter reduction is a result of building code review. We require a fire rated separation wall, which you can see in red on that slide. Because of this, the 200 square meters of commercial space on the right is all that counts as our non-residential floor area for this development. The remaining area is contained within what would be the entrance lounge. It will function as one space when complete, except in the event of a fire when that fire separation will close. It's a cafe intended to serve building residents. It will continue to function. The seating spills into the lounge. It's one effective space. It just doesn't count under the bylaw. This space will continue to be functional, laid out the same as I said. The next variance, if you can go to the next slide, requests a minor reduction to the west yard setback. In the OLT approved setback diagram, which is on the left, there's a 0 meter setback to the bottom of the screen to the west side yard for the first story, and then a series of steps getting to 12.5 meters of setback to the tower. What we are proposing is removing some of those steps, and we're reducing that setback to 12.2 meters. We're not doing that because we're moving the tower. We're doing that because the previous owner's survey contained an error in the location of the property line. It's 30 centimeters off, and it's skewed along that property line. As a result of this, when my client acquired the site, a new survey was undertaken, identified this discrepancy, and we're 30 centimeters out of bounds with what the OLT approved. So really, the building remains the same. There's no impact on the adjacent landowner's development, as noted in their letter that they submitted to the committee. They have a site-specific bylaw already approved. We're not moving anything on their site. We're just making sure that our site accommodates the reality of the surveys. So there's no implications. It's a 30 centimeter difference due to survey error. Next slide, please. The third variance relates to building height. There's several small adjustments to the heights of levels within the lower portion of the building, ranging from 0.7 to 1.65 meters. These are strictly the result of detailed structural and engineering coordination through site plan. The extra space is required for structural transfer slabs in the podium, clearances for loading and waste collection vehicles within the podium, and for servicing and HVAC systems. The previous design did not account for the necessary space to service a building that's 44 stories tall. Because all of these small increases in height are happening in the podium, the height overall of the building slightly increases as a result because you have to carry that height up. There's no increase in density. We're not proposing an additional story on the site, and no additional units are proposed. This is purely just to ensure that we can construct a functional building at the height.
I'm gonna cut you off, but I'm gonna ask some questions which will hopefully clarify what you
Sure.
say here. So in variance 4, you are increasing the overall height of the building, are you not?
Correct. We are increasing the permitted overage of the mechanical penthouse. The reason for that is we are incorporating a geothermal energy for heating and cooling into this building. It requires larger mechanical systems in that penthouse, requiring that extra space. To ensure that this was done thoughtfully and correctly, the building facade has been designed to fully integrate that into it. So from the street, there would be no effective difference. It is a 2.4 meter increase, and we've worked quite closely with design staff at the city.
The adjacent landowner was talking about a difference in setback of, I believe it's half a meter. You're talking about 30 centimeters, so there's a bit of a discrepancy there. Can you?
Sure, so you can see it on the revised zoning diagrams that we had presented. So the setback we're proposing is 12.2 meters from the south property line to the face of our tower, and that accounts for that 30 centimeter difference in surveyed boundary line.
Okay. Any other questions?
There was one more variance, but if there's no more questions, then I'm...
Well, that one I kind of get.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to grab a seat, and I believe we do have other speakers on this item.
That's correct. We have a person online who I will unmute right now.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Tired.
Yeah, I imagine, me too. So my name is Maria DeAngelis Pater, and I'm one of the owners at 3823 Bloor Street West. So I had some issues with the variances. Although they are seemingly minor individually put together, I believe that they're not a minor variance, and it would be more toward to be looked at by a different venue rather than through minor variances.
Yeah.
I have a concern with the height of the building. So the individual levels are slated to go up by about I think 0.75 to 1.65 meters. And then on top of that, the mechanical penthouse is 2.6 meters. They're asking for an increase of 2.6 meters. So then the mechanical penthouse, all in all, if you factor in that the mechanical penthouse would be 8.6 plus 1.35 meters, is about 10 meters increase that they are requesting, which turns into about a 40% increase in the height of the building from the mechanical penthouse point of view. I found that it doesn't really keep in character with the surrounding intent of the area. In addition, this revised, or this variance has gone from a stepped type of approach to the building with the central tower to completely one central tower without the little steps. I'm thinking that would increase the weight. Maybe there needs to be a redesign issue to be looked at. I'm thinking also based on the water levels. I was looking at some of the reports that they had on water and water displacement. There is an issue currently right now. When I look at the site, I do see pools of water. So there is clearly a water issue. So I'm thinking that the heavier building, a higher building would have a greater impact on the water table. or the water levels, and should, I think that it's not really a minor variance, and it should be looked at from a different venue, as I said, like maybe through a bylaw amendment, or something of that nature. Then there was the variance of the decrease in floor space from 240 to 200 meters squared. It is a 15% reduction. Perhaps a redesign might give them 240 meters squared. I don't know, but I don't think it's, again, as I said, a minor variance issue. Yeah, so I think that's about what I need to say, in addition to my letter submitted earlier as well.
No, I think you've summed up very well. I think you've certainly in tune with some of my feelings about some of these applications, which probably would be more appropriate at a different venue rather than a minor variance. So I understand those concerns, and we're certainly going to ask the agent to speak to that. Thank you. Any questions from panel members? No. Any other speakers?
Well, Mr. Chairman, there's a user TJS who keeps coming on and off, so I don't have no idea where they're from, but okay. So if that's the case, then we can go back to the applicant.
Okay.
Thank you, and through the chair, if I could respond to that. We do believe that this is the appropriate avenue for each of these. Each of these do meet the 4 tests. They are minor in nature. We did work, as I said, quite closely with planning staff. We've met with urban design staff on multiple occasions through the redesign of this building to ensure that city staff are on side with what we are proposing. It does require minor variances, which is why we are here today. With regard to the previous deputation, we have made a lot of changes to the building mass, but as I mentioned, that does actually reduce the massing of the building if you go to the comparison slide. There are no concerns with geotechnical or water on the site. That's all been studied through the studies submitted through site plan approval to the city, and city staff are satisfied. I should also note that approval of the variance is all that's required for no act to be issued on this site. With regards to the other concerns raised, the height of the mechanical penthouse, again, is required to incorporate geothermal heating and cooling into the building, which offers a great benefit to the city. It's aligned with the official plan and the climate policies of the city of Toronto.
So you didn't know you were going to do that when you originally went?
We did not originally propose the zoning bylaw amendment that went through the OLT. That was the previous owner of the site. We purchased the site to actually build it, and we intend to construct it this year pending approval of this variance. If there are any other questions, I'm happy to speak to them.
For sure. Any questions? Okay.
Actually, just a confirmation, there was a report from city planning, correct?
Yes.
And the report is supportive of what you're proposing here.
That's correct. That report came at our request of city planning staff. We'd met with them. We wanted to make sure that was reflected for each of you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So let's take it into committee for discussion and or motion. Anybody want to start?
So again, I'm just going to jump in on this one as well. I believe that the spirit of the original approvals lives within this application. There are some variances that are required. Each of the variances that are being requested are, in my view, nominal. Some are very technical, and overall, the one that stands out is really the height, and for all intents and purposes, 2.6 meters for a 44-story tower. The impact is negligible. As it involves wind patterns or things of that nature, I don't think that 2.6 would make a difference. So I believe the 5 variances that are being requested are indeed minor in nature, and I believe this is the right forum for these types of changes. Committee of Adjustment to be here rather than going through council again.
I'll second that.
No, I don't think he moved the motion. That was just commentary.
Commentary.
He stopped.
That should have been the motion.
It sounded like there was a motion going to come at the end of that, but Dominic, are you going to move a motion or are you going to leave it at that?
Transform it into a motion?
I'm prepared to move a motion, Chair. Indeed, Chair, I did review the application, the files within that application. I made numerous notes, or scratched numerous notes on the files. I did read carefully the city planning report. I depend on the professional planners to give us the best technical advice. I don't necessarily always agree with them, but certainly I take it to heart that the advice that they're giving us is the best technical advice. Their report of July the 10th speaks to the variances that are being requested here. They took no objections or identified any negative undue impacts that changing or allowing these 5 variants would cause. Therefore, having reviewed each of the variances relative to the changes the OLT made and the 4 tests, I believe that the application meets the tests. I'm moving approval with no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Gully. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that too.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Opposed? Oh, unanimous approval. Thank you. Okay. Do we want a break yet? No. Okay. Just thought I'd ask. Item 25, A, B, and C. And where are my notes? Where's 25? There it is. Okay. Okay, 16 Cardell Avenue. This is an application to obtain consent to sever the lot into 2 undersized residential lots and to construct a new semi-detached multiplex containing 2 units on each of the 2 new lots. This would further require 7 variances for each of the proposed new semis to be constructed. Forestry is requesting condition 3. In the event of approval, we have an objection petition with 5 signatures. ECS has advisory comments and recommendations as well as conditions of severance. And I believe Mr. Romano is our agent.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the panel. Franco Romano, Action Planning 321 Lakeshore.
Okay, Mr. Romano, I think we're going to need a full presentation. We do have other speakers on this item.
That's very good. If staff can bring up my slides, please. Excellent. So slide number 1 is a lot fabric slide. Shows that the proposal with a lot frontage of 7.55 meters and a lot area of 255 square meters is consistent with the prevailing patterns within the neighborhood. We'll see in blue lots that are 7.62 meters or smaller, and 63% of lots. One of the properties that have been severed recently but still has not yet been developed is next door at 14 Cardell. You'll see that that's at 7.61 meters and 254.7 square meters, very similar lot design. On the other side of Western Road, so within walking distance, there's a super center, and there's basically everything you need in order to live your life. There's bank facilities, institutional facilities, retail facilities, etc. Western Road is also a transit road, so there's access to transit. You can get the UP service, which basically functions like a local elevated LRT or to the city and the airport, as well as a GO station. If you go to slide number 2, we'll see that the proposal has side yard setback variance of 1.21 meters, whereas 1.8 is required. And we'll see side yard setbacks smaller than 1.2 meters are very common.
The proposal has a lot coverage variance of 38.5%, whereas 35% is required. And we'll see in the bottom slide that lot coverages of in excess of 35% are also quite common on CARDELL or the immediate context. On the top slide, the top aerial of this slide, there's a broken black line which shows a proposed front yard setback line, and you'll see the underlying dwellings that exist. The proposal very much is consistent with that front wall alignment, and the proposal is very close to what the existing front setback is. We go to slide number 3, we'll see the variety of dwellings built form. So the subject site has topography, rising topography, just like many other properties. It's very pronounced. It's almost like a bottom left dwelling that we see there, number 28, CARDELL. And we'll see this in the elevation, which is why we have a couple of different things happening here. Number one, the semi instead of the detached, and also tree protection. But there are properties with built form that have an eclectic nature to it, and also present themselves as semis, even though they're not semis. Slide number 4, it's also some additional dwellings. You'll see it's a tight urban fabric. Slide number 5, tree protection plan. So part of the design of this lot led to the semi-detached dwelling in order to protect mature trees both in the city boulevard and in the backyard. Detached dwellings would occur, could be proposed, but they would involve a reduction in landscaping, viable planting space, and the removal of trees, particularly in the backyard. And that was something that we're looking to protect. And that was something that was also discussed with planning staff, and they concurred and they have no objections. So part of the design here is to have the semi, it's one building on the lot with a wider side yard setbacks on the one side, as opposed to 2 singles, which would be longer buildings and tighter side yard setbacks, basically in between the dwellings. On slide number 6, you'll see the site plan with side yard setbacks and the tree protections. And on slide number 7, you'll see the topography. So the building complies with building height. We'll see at the front that there's the grade is much different than it is at the back. You'll see on the right-hand side of this slide, you'll see the back with the wall height triggering the triggered wall height is basically about a third underground. So the conditions of approval that we've seen from ECS, Urban Forestry, and Planning has no objections, are satisfactory and appropriate, and I submit that the application is the proper development of the lands. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. A couple of questions. If the front yard setback were to be eliminated, I'm assuming it would create a rear yard setback by moving the property back?
It would, yes.
Okay. Just a curiosity. Okay.
So the reasons for the front yard setback is I can't remember
and as you were pointing out, it's not an unusual situation. You were referring to the up and the go station. Do you know the distance from this property to that?
It's about a half an hour walk.
Yeah, Google says it's 36 minutes or 2.6 kilometers. So it's not exactly, within the transit area. There's no parking being proposed for either of these, right?
No, but if I'm taking the up, just like I'm in Port Credit, and when I go to the Port Credit Go, I don't drive. I take the My Way, which is the bus. So the bus on Weston.
There is, that's true.
Takes me to the up and the Go station within 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay.
And that is good use of transit. And I don't need a vehicle or transit to get to any of the commercial or other facilities.
No, that's within walking distance. Absolutely. Absolutely. I was actually, when I looked at it on the map, I was surprised at how, I thought it was closer to the GO station, but anyway. Okay, any other questions? Okay, so we'll go to the other speakers.
Mr. Chairman, I don't know if Angelica Muir is here.
No?
In that case, there is a John Collins.
Okay.
Hello, John Collins, 17 Cardell.
Good day.
What an education I've had here today. And I hope you guys are getting overtime for this.
Not yet.
So, looking at the site plan, I find many discrepancies. First of all, if the property size is of a size and you know the size of the building you're putting it in, why ask for variances if you know it's not going to fit? This, by my background, I know the history of my house and the neighborhood from 1919 until now. Up till 1980, there was only 10 houses on this street. Now there's 19. They're going to quadruple the property density of this property, the street alone. This house is on the north side of the street. There is no parking on that side of the street at all. On the south side of Cardell, there are 3 parking spots, and the reason being is 4 years ago, the city put in a sidewalk, which nobody requested. And with that, there are 3 parking spots on the south side of the Cardell and none on the north side. This proposal has 0 parking, and you can't tell me that out of the 4 units that are being built there, nobody's going to have a car. I think it's a bit of a reach to say that you can walk to the up or you can take the bus. The Weston bus is a horror show at the best of times. Having said that, the setbacks they're asking for, some are close to double what they're asking or legally allowed. And I think with that, they should rethink their design, rethink building a multiplex there. Hearing what I've heard today, I'm quite sure that 90% of the people that come here have no conception that that bylaw was passed 2 years ago, you were saying, to allow this sort of thing to happen. And I'm quite sure that if the public knew this, your job would be a lot easier.
You got that right.
For the simple fact, and you know, dealing with people from Rexdale that are old, good luck with that one. But, as I said, the property doesn't allow for this sort of building at this time. And if this is the way if we can't get them with the bylaw, maybe just because the building doesn't fit, maybe the solution we're having here. If they want to build, it was a beautiful single-family dwelling. That's great. Build another one like that. Even to build a smaller, 2-family dwelling, but not 4. That's pushing the boundaries. And I could say a lot more, but I speak 2 languages proficiently, English and profanity. I choose to use this one right now.
Thank you. Not everybody does.
I've noticed that. Anyway, thank you.
Don't go away. Any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, online there is a gentleman, Andrew Ojo, but I tried to unmute them last time. It didn't work. Let's see.
Hello, can you hear
now
me?
it worked, yes. Thank you.
Hello?
Hello, can I jump right in?
Absolutely.
Hello, Andrew Ojo from 9 Maple Bush, speaking on behalf of 5 of the residents that have submitted objection letters. I'd like to start with a recap of the letter, and then I'll go into specific rebuttals of some of the points that were raised by the applicant. So my house is directly behind this proposed dwelling, and what I can say is that for certain it is not a request for variances that are minor or desirable. One of the first things to start with is that semi-detached dwellings are not a permitted use within the RD zone, and there are no other semi-detached dwellings within the immediate context of this area. The other thing that I'd like to bring up next from the letters that the neighbors have signed is that the overall built form of this building does present as much more of an apartment building than an actual detached dwelling. Other proposals in the areas have been to split 50-foot lots into 225s with detached. Here, essentially going lot line to lot line with a semi-detached building with main wall height variances of up to 10 meters. presents an incredible amount of massing that is going to tower over the surrounding area and is really incompatible with the existing streetscape. Another thing that I would like to add is that if the committee were to approve this request, we would like it to be tied to site plans, elevations, and for the property to remain, I guess, limited to 4 units and not to have the ability for the applicant to get approval to split the lot and then change this into 4-unit semis on each sides. That goes into the point where the gentleman on Cardell was saying that there is no parking in this area. As someone that lived directly behind at 9 Maple Bush, the transit in this area is not suitable enough to not own a vehicle. Everyone on Maple Bush owns a vehicle, and there's already limited parking there. Even if people were to go and use the UP Express or the GO at Weston and Lawrence, a lot of people drive their cars to the station. It's not a reasonable distance, as I believe Stan noted. It's not within the transit zone for the station. It is quite a far bit off. Another thing, as I continue to go down my list here, is that because of the lot coverage variances, in addition to sort of the totality of lot coverage that's being requested here, we are very close in proximity to TRCA regulated zones along the bank of the Humber River. There are concerns over the permeability of the entire lot as a result of the overbuild on this lot. And with that, I'll conclude. In summary, say that myself, along with the other owners on Maple Bush Avenue, are strongly opposed to this development and would request that the committee refuse it as well.
Okay, thank you. Are any questions from panel members for this?
Just to comment that we didn't get anything from TRCA, so.
No, the TRC had no comment, yeah. Okay. Okay, do we have any other speakers? Is Angelica resurfaced?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so then I'll ask Mr. Romano to come back.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. So thanks to those 2 speakers. I will note that the subject site is not excluded from the parking provisions of the zoning bylaw. The zoning bylaw requires 0 parking spaces for new dwellings, and that is what is being proposed. And anyone that's going to occupy the lands will know that there is no parking, and that's the way the rental building will be constructed. The owner has constructed other multiplexes and garden suites without parking, and those are operating properly and without the demand for parking. So he's familiar with that type of process. And I would disagree with the proximity and transit descriptions that were being provided. I do understand that persons that are familiar with using a vehicle may not want to occupy this multiplex, but persons that do not need or want a vehicle will want to occupy this location given the proximity to services. Providing parking on the site would result in the removal of the tree at the front, which the balancing of the balance between the protection of that natural feature and parking supply that isn't necessary is leaning towards the protection of the tree in this instance. If we take a look at the photographs in terms of built form, we see buildings that rise well above the wall height that's being proposed here when we measure it from an established grade. The proposed wall height is very much in keeping with the buildings in this area where topography is an issue. And both of those speakers have dwellings on lots that are undersized relative to the zoning bylaw. They're not semi-detached, but they are detached, and they have side yard setbacks that are actually smaller than what is being proposed. In terms of the semi-detached building, rather than the two detached, I've already described that in my earlier comments, but in this area, if we go along a little further south, the committee has authorized in this area, as well as other neighborhoods, semi-detached in zones where the RD only permits detached, when balancing the lot fabric, the nature of development within the area, and also those features such as I've described, which are the natural features, the tree protection. And planning staff has reviewed that and accepted that it's an appropriate response in this instance. That's happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Romano. You're proposing a 7.55 lot frontage, or sorry, yeah, all of your examples so are based on 7.61 or less, or you know, 7.62 or less. How many of those are actually at 7.55, do you know?
On slide 1, I list just recent Committee of Adjustment approvals. That isn't what the neighborhood consists of. And if you just bear with me 1 second, I'll be able to tell you how many are at 7.55 or smaller. Just have to. So there are, it basically ranges from 7.49 meters. And then the ones that are 7.55, there are 38 of them.
38?
In the neighborhood, yep.
Isn't that more than what you've shown on your map?
No, map 1 shows lots in blue that are 7.62 meters or smaller.
Right.
And those are 63%. And if you're referring to the list on the right-hand side, those are only recent severance approvals. That is not
Okay, no, that's fine.
of lot fabric.
But I guess what I'm saying is what you're showing it's in blue, it looks like less than 38. So I'm confused if you're saying that there's 38 that are 7.55 or smaller.
No, the blue represents 63% of the lots in the neighborhood.
And how many?
That is about 65 lots in the neighborhood.
So you're saying the majority of those are at 7.55 or less?
Yeah, they range from 7.49 to 7.55.
Okay. Thank you.
It's an indistinguishable difference, 7.55 to.
No, I understand that, but it's I just want to see if this application would be precedent setting, right? So that's why.
Yeah, no, it's not. No.
Okay. All right. Any other questions? No. Okay, so.
Are we able to jump back in on the line?
Who's this now?
Mr. Chairman, no, there's a Mr. Romano rebuttal only.
Okay. So let's take it into committee for any discussion, or if anyone's ready for motions.
I'll table a motion, if everybody's okay with that.
If you're good with that.
First, with regard to the consent, I'm satisfied that the lot sizes, frontage and area are compatible with the area as demonstrated by Mr. Romano's materials in his presentation, and as well as my own inspection of the location map that we have. So I'm going to move approval of the consent subject to the development, engineering, and transportation review conditions, as well as the standard conditions of consent. And with respect to the minor variances, I
forestry as well.
Sorry?
Forestry?
I was going to attach them to the minor variances.
Yeah, got it.
I find the minor variances meet the 4 tests under the Planning Act, And I move approval of both minor variance applications subject to urban forestry condition 3.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. Is there a seconder?
Not the ECS conditions?
Yes.
Yes, I mentioned them. I called them something else, though. Development,
Okay.
engineering, and
Okay, that's-
transportation review.
I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Dalton, all in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, so it carries on a 3-2.
Thanks very much. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
efforts today.
Thanks. Yeah, let's take a 10-minute break. Okay, I think we need, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, during the break, let me just unmute one new user because they might be one of the registered speakers on item number 27. I don't know. You know what? It doesn't matter because I can't unmute them anyway, so.
People calling me, when are you coming home? It's my birthday, I'm waiting, I've been, spent my birthday here.
Oh, jeez.
I got 2 words for you, it's not happy motoring. It's, what an education. And, I mean, I could sit here for 50 minutes, so I know the virtues of a great deal who it was. But it doesn't work.
No.
Wasting.
Here you go, my friend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, all my notes and everything else, kudos to you guys for getting through that.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Because if you don't come out, you don't get it.
But having said that,
This is a bigger than we want to do. No, exactly. Just an imaginary.
Doesn't help that people like me say, I don't want to speak. I'm just saying the same thing. I think it's in general. Some of those trees, I want them to be cut down and be brought down on my car or on me as I walk down the street. On Sundays, when they park on both sides of the two roads around the building, because the parking lot is not.
You're right.
We don't have that many visitors. Too many visitor spots.
I'm a firm believer.
Way too many visitor spots.
And this is not right. It's like my grandmother said. Are you right? No middle. The seniors have fallen in their cars.
Some of them.
Because you don't need to. Nobody shut it. Hasn't been since for 6 years. You're supposed to look out my uncle. You're supposed to help. So where does all this begin? You're still here? I'm still here. You're good. Good. But anyway, very good. This part, I see the residents. I've heard proposals. I know the church is getting robots.
It was not expected.
Are you? I don't know.
My concern. That's right. That's right. Oh, absolutely. Sister started school. We used to go Clement Road and Custom is big. That was years ago. Big piece of land. And the designation you cannot build anything. I was told that someone of course.
But I just really.
That's the problem, right? You know? But no, this is
Physically lost.
I can tell you I was down there. They keep it way too cold. I normally wear a suit jacket when I come here.
Smart, but I should have known that.
This is bad. That's cool.
Also, I guess because all this sweat. I guess I'm and I thought,
I thought we were back now. Missing Domin, oh, there we go, okay. Okay, let me know when we're back online. You good? Okay, welcome back. Our next item is item 26, 124 EWART Avenue. This is an application that was deferred from February 12th of this year. It is an application to construct a new garden suite. There are 4 variances being requested. Planning is recommending refusal. Metrolinx has advisory comments, and we have 2 letters of objection. Jonathan Binkowski.
Good evening,
Good evening.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah, welcome back.
Thank you, sir.
Anyway, whenever you're ready, we're ready to do your presentation.
Absolutely. If we could bring up the floor plans, please. I just want to quickly review the alterations that have been made. The original proposal requested relief from 8 variances. We are down to 4, okay? And 2 of the existing 4 have actually been altered. So just to quickly go over what's been altered, the coverage of the ancillary building has been removed. The original request was for a 22.1%.
Sorry, are you asking to reduce a couple of your variances?
No, I'm just, Mr. Chair, I'm just reviewing the changes because I think the context of the reduction is important into where we've arrived today. So we've removed the request for the ancillary building coverage increase. Again, not an FSI increase or an actual area of the garden suite itself, but the ancillary building coverage. So right now we are building in line essentially with the exterior walls, and we are in compliance with the 20%. We've also removed the west side yard setback request as well as the east side yard setback request. That was done because there was a cantilever proposed on the 2nd floor. Once that is removed, we're allowed to actually build in line with the existing side walls as long as we're not going up or extending or making it larger. We've also removed the platform stair encroachment distance between the dwelling and the proposed stair encroachment. And I'm going to review that in a little bit more detail because I'm somewhat surprised by planning's continued comments of the objection, both for the stair encroachment as well as for the landscaping. So what we are requesting is an increase that the ancillary building itself, the GFA, cannot be larger than the residential building itself. In this instance, it is quite a small dwelling that exists at the front in terms of a bungalow at only 86 square meters or 926 square feet. The 2nd floor addition we are proposing above the existing garage, in my opinion, is for a modest 49 square meters. Again, without a request for a reduction to the side yards or the actual ancillary building coverage. So to put it in context, a garden suite itself is permitted to be a maximum of 120 square meters for the garden suite itself. In this instance, we are proposing 49 square meters for the garden suite, which is located entirely on the 2nd floor. If we could actually just go to the site plan, I did want to talk about the stair encroachment itself and give a little context towards that. So all of the houses on this north side of Ewart, east of Keele, have a similar situation in the rear yard where there is no soft landscaping. Yeah. Every dwelling along this block of Ewart essentially has 0 existing soft landscaping. We are not proposing any soft landscaping to be added. Now, if I were to remove the stair that is on the exterior, we would actually not have a variance for the soft landscaping. It would be able to remain as it is. Because that stair is touching the hard landscaping that exists in the rear yard, it triggers the zoning bylaw requirement for soft landscaping. One of the changes we made throughout the process was there was an existing kind of platform about 8 risers up. We have removed that and it is now one continuous stair. My belief was through conversations with planning was removing that kind of removed that privacy and overlook issue. I'm not sure how many people would start walking upstairs and stand and look at their neighbors. It would be similar to a window on the 2nd floor. So the revised proposal actually has no platform midway through going up. If we could go to the support material from 2025-11-19, I just want to show you a picture of the rear yard of the subject property, and you will see a little bit of, I think it's labeled support material. Or if there's an aerial from my photos, it would be the same thing from that. Just to show, there we go, the site photos. Maybe just try site photos might work. Yes, there we go, the front. There we go. If we look at the rear, so there we see the soft landscaping being actually 0% in the rear yard as it exists on both the subject property as well as the adjacent property. There are 2 garage doors. The owner's son does have a small collector car he keeps in there. So even when we put that stairs, the stair still would permit the small collector car to exit. Part of my reason for deferral was conversations with the neighbors. I dropped off letters in both of the mailboxes of the individual adjacent to the rear, as well as the dwelling to the west that shares the mutual right-of-way with the subject property. I did hear from the individual to the rear. I think they're on the call, I believe. The conversation really was about some issues towards some encroachments in the rear and garbage dumping and things like that. There wasn't really an objection to the proposal. I would note that existing person actually to the north has the same brick garage situation that we have. So in terms of overlook, there are no windows proposed along the rear or either ones of the sides. I did not hear from the adjacent neighbor to the west after dropping something off in their proposal. I would also just like to add that, again, this is a tight site. Again, the second floor is only for a 49 square meter increase.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No? Okay. Moving on to other speakers.
Yes, the other speaker is online, Narosa Meswin.
Hi there, good evening, and thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Narosa, and I'm speaking on behalf of my parents for 91 91st Road, the property located directly behind 124 EWART Avenue, and I'm here to express our concerns about the proposed garden suite being built on top of their existing garage. And if we could please begin with page 2. So our concerns are based on real ongoing issues that already affect our property, and we believe will worsen if this construction is approved. After reviewing the drawings submitted with the Committee of Adjustment application and comparing them with our property survey, we have concerns regarding the location of the property line shown on the submitted site plan. We've provided a copy of our survey on page 2 of the presentation materials. When comparing the two, the property line shown on the submitted site plan does not appear to align with the property line shown on our survey, and we respectfully ask that this be clarified. According to the submitted site plan, the bolded property line between lot 91 and lot 82, which is my parents' property, shows the proposed garden suite sitting directly on or extremely close to our property line. While the minimum required rear yard setback is 1.5 meters, the application proposes a rear yard setback of only 0.06 meters, just 6 centimeters. Although that isn't technically zero, there is effectively no meaningful separation between the proposed structure and our property. Since the garden suite is being built above the existing garage and there is already almost no space between the two garages, we're struggling to understand how the additional structure could be accommodated without further impacting our property. With such limited separation, we're concerned about how construction, future maintenance, emergency access, and repairs can be carried out without affecting our property. Second, I'm very concerned about fire safety. As shown on pages 3 and 4, if you could please scroll down, the space between our garage and the garage at 124 EWART is already extremely narrow. On page 3, you can also see a buildup of dry leaves behind our garage that we're unable to safely access or remove because of the limited space between the garages. This existing condition already raises fire safety concerns, particularly during hot, dry weather like this week. Adding a second residential unit above the garage with such minimal separation between the buildings further increases our concerns about fire spread and emergency access. Third, there is already a pattern of boundary issues. For some time now, the homeowners at 124 EWART have stacked personal items on top of their garage roof, and as you can see on the photos on pages 5 and 6, which were taken just last week. These items touch the back of our garage and have continued to cause damage. Even after requesting that these items be removed over the years, they continue to reappear. This shows an ongoing disregard for shared boundaries and makes us very concerned about how the impacts from a much larger construction be managed. Lastly, because both garages are so close together with very little space between them, we're already experiencing water damage on the rear wall of our garage, as shown on page 7. This damage is visible and ongoing. It demonstrates that drainage and limited separation between the garages are already creating problems. and adding a second-story garden suite will increase roof area and runoff, which we believe will worsen the existing water damage and create further structural issues for our property. This proposal does not adequately protect our property's safety, integrity, or livability. The existing conditions already create significant problems, and building a second dwelling unit on top of an already very limited space between the garages will only make these problems worse. For these reasons, we respectfully ask the Committee of Adjustment to require significant revisions to the proposal, including clarification of the property line, appropriate setbacks, and stronger safety protections before any approval is granted. If these concerns cannot be adequately addressed, we respectfully ask that the application be refused. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Any questions from panel members? No? Okay. Do we have any other speakers?
No, Mr. Chairman, that's it.
Okay, so let's come back to Mr. Binkowski.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, to address some of that, just to clarify, those are only ground floor pictures. So in my opinion, the addition of a second floor with the setback, I would assume would improve any type of drainage, again, seeing as the flat roof will have scuppers that will have to retain water back into the existing site itself. So I did actually have a conversation with them. And if we go to the elevation, we can see on the elevation that the 0.06 meter setback is there to the rear. Any impact, in my opinion, is mitigated by that reduction in setback with a garage actually being there. I would hope that with a garage there, actually the tighter they are together, in my opinion, the better the actual situation is for grading and drainage. This isn't a situation of a rear amenity space located, and I forgot the street's name. I think it's Kuiper. Yes, sorry. Yes, it's an odd pronunciation. That amenity space is not being interrupted with the proposal that is before you today. Our survey is new. I actually did just bring it up. If you want to go on to the survey, it was done July 10th, 2023. The rear portion of this property on the west side does have some storage located at grade. So if we actually zoom in onto the northwest corner of the property, we can see that there is some storage. There is an area located behind the existing garage that's there. Is that an ideal situation? I don't believe it is, because again, I would rather have it tighter, but that's what's sitting there today. And I guess that is where they are storing some materials. With the garden suite being proposed to be 0.06 meters from the property line, that storage space will actually disappear because that will occupy a portion of the proposed garden suite. So any concerns of what is there will be eliminated if this is meritorious. I do just want to touch on two things. In the photos, it was shown as concrete blocks, so those are non-combustible in terms of any type of fire issues. And as the committee is aware, the building code will govern this through fire protections, not only to the north, but also to the side and to the east through the building permit process. I think that answers kind of a couple of the questions. I didn't really hear an objection to the proposal itself. It was more just some concerns with what was going on there. And I believe that the introduction and the elimination of that storage area will actually help get rid of that concern.
Thank you. Any questions? No? So let's take it into committee. Any discussion? So we have a refusal recommendation from planning. They didn't do a subsequent report after the revisions. They just basically said they haven't changed their opinion.
Yeah, I'm prepared to listen to my colleagues, of course, but I've got problems with all these variances. I think Mr. Benskowski made the point that the garden suite's only 49 square meters, but the zoning provision talks about the gross floor area of an ancillary building containing a garden suite. So that's what we have here. This ancillary building is 99.22 meters squared. And it is larger than the residential building on the lot. I don't like the virtual nil rear yard setback and side yard setbacks. And I don't like the 0% soft landscaping in the rear lot, so. Not a big fan of this one.
No, and I agree with you and planning that I can see why they didn't unchange their earlier comment, because the application is largely unchanged, in my opinion. It's just too big, too much on too small of a site.
Mr. Chair, I agree with the comments of my colleagues, and my view of this matter is consistent with the community planning report of February 2nd, 2026. Unless there are any more comments, I'm happy to make a motion.
I guess the only other comment is garden suites not necessarily fit in everywhere. Anyone ready for a motion?
I will do that, Mr. Chair. Based upon the materials reviewed and the considerations of the 4 tests, I believe this application does not satisfy the requirements, and I move to refuse.
Thank you, Mr. Povic. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Okay, the application is refused.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 27, 1548 Kipling Avenue. This item was deferred from May 14th of this year. It is an application to increase the number of parking spaces from 135 to 171 for a total of 36 new spaces. There are 3 variances being requested. Forestry is requesting condition 2 in the event of approval. We have 3 letters of objection. We have an objection petition with 20+ signatures. And that's what we have, okay. Oh, that's why I said 20+. I lost count. Okay, our agent is Mark Hicks.
Right.
Floor is yours.
Mr. Chair and the rest of the committee, appreciate the opportunity to present this application this evening, not this afternoon. And so my name is Mark Hicks from D&H Architects. I'm the agent acting on behalf of Richview Church at 1548 Kipling Avenue. The Kipling or Richview Church has been on that site since 1959. Started in a portable, built a multi-purpose building in 63, and then an addition in 83 with a 600-seat worship center that had the parking as well, the existing parking as well as the residence to the west, on the west side. At that time, there was plenty of parking in the area, and they had agreements with notably the gas station that was immediately north that provided overflow spaces for their Sunday morning service and special occasions like Christmas and New Year's and whatnot. So our what we're trying to do here is improve the safety of the neighborhood by removing cars from the street and putting more of them on the parking space or on the parking area that's provided. In doing so, we require 3 variances. One variance is to reduce the existing parking space, which are currently 2.74 by 6.4, to comply with the City of Toronto parking standard at 2.6 by 5.6. That allows us to obviously put more parking spaces in the space that's available. We're also requesting a reduction of the landscape strip along Clement and the street on the west side there. On Clement, it's 6.35 meters to the property line. We're reducing it 2.64 meters. And along Densfield, it's 3.95 meters. We're reducing to 1.6 meters. There still is a significant boulevard between the property line and the sidewalk. That's also a green space. The third variance that we're requesting is the minimum landscape open space area. It's required to be 40%. It's actually only 35.8% currently, and we're reducing that down to 31%. I don't believe there's a variance required to increase the number of parking spaces just for the 3 items that I've mentioned there. We did have an arborist report prepared. This was at the recommendation of the planning department, who we met with and consulted prior to making the application. They've noted a number of trees on our property. None of the municipal or street trees are affected by this. They're just trees that are currently on the property. There are a number that are affected in the berm that's on the Clement side, as well as internal to the property. 9 of those trees are already undersized and either in fair or poor condition. And so any trees that are being removed are required to be replaced at a ratio of 1:3. So I know a lot of the letters that I've read from the residents, and I really appreciate that concern too. I don't like to, I like green space as much as anybody and understand the benefits of that. So we will be replacing the trees that are required to be removed at a 3-to-1 ratio, which will result in 39 additional trees on the property. One of the other comments, I think, from the letters that I read was with regard to congestion. We think we're making that better. Like we're not increasing the number of seats in the sanctuary. The church is growing after kind of a down period as a result of COVID. And so, and there's a number of residents that are now driving that were not driving or weren't anticipated when the building was built back in 1983. So the parking spaces being provided will be serving the residents' need. Right now, there's a waiting list, I understand, for parking spaces from the residents there that they can't satisfy because of the arrangement that they have with the church. So we believe this is an improvement to the overall quality of the neighborhood, both the number of trees that we're going to be planting and the safety concerns that we would have for parking on the street and moving as many of those cars as possible onto the parking area.
Okay. Was there a parking demand study done or anything formal like that?
There was nothing formal like that, no.
Okay. So it's basically just kind of what you're feeling in terms of congestion or seeing in terms of congestion?
Well, Sunday morning, there's a need for parking, and special events like Christmas and Easter News, there's a demand for additional parking than what we can provide on site.
Okay. Have you thought about having people out in the parking lot and staggering the car, like, no?
That's really not permitted under the bylaw in terms of counting spaces, but that would really probably mess it up for the residents who aren't part of the church organization, and you know, we don't know whose space we would be compromising in that effort.
Okay, fair enough. Any questions before we go to speakers?
So just to be clear, because several of the letters make mention of loss of tree canopy, you're actually adding to it, correct?
We will be adding to it. We have to as a part of the process, and
Right.
we've already had consult with
Yeah.
the planning
But
department.
there just seems to be a misunderstanding, and I just want to.
Correct, thank you. Yeah, thanks for
So
that.
your arborist report doesn't indicate how many trees you're removing.
Yes, it does.
It
Yeah.
does?
Oh, it does, yeah. And the quality of the trees and the species of the trees, yes.
Okay.
They've counted 49 trees in their survey. There's also a plan attached to their survey.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Have a seat. We'll hear
Thank you.
from other speakers.
I'd just like to see, did Joe Tullo make it? We can bring him up.
Thank you. My name's Joe Tullo. I'm speaking on behalf of the church, and I've been a member of the church for 37 years now, and I'm part of it and part of the leadership there. So thank you for this opportunity. Mark detailed, we've been there 67 years, and we've been, you know, in love with this community around us.
Aren't you together, kind of?
I'm sorry, what was the question to me?
Isn't he
Well,
representing the church?
I live in the area, 22 Shaver Avenue North, and I attend the church.
That's nowhere close to.
No, but I think he's speaking as a member of the church as opposed to, as a member of the congregation in support of the application, as opposed to someone on behalf of the applicant.
So you're not, because he said he was representing the church.
Did I misspeak? I'm
Possibly.
learning today too. Okay, I'm learning today too, right? So,
So are you representing the church or you're just a congregant?
I am a congregant. I am also part of the church, and I am a leadership there. I wanted to be transparent with that, but I am a congregant, and I am speaking here as a congregant to talk about the benefits that the church has done in the community over the years, and why we're doing this, because I think that's one of the questions. Why are we doing this? So, and I think the council is entitled to understand.
Yeah,
why.
I think what this turns on is we can't have more than one person representing the applicant.
Fine.
I am if you want to speak as a congregant,
I am
that's
speaking as a
fine,
congregant.
but you can't actually speak on behalf of the church.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. I am Joe Tulo, a congregant of Richview Baptist Church, and I'd like to speak onto why we think this is a good idea. So, I mean, we built that building, and the building was built in the 80s, or 1983, as Mark said, and it currently houses...
See, you're saying we built the church. You're speaking as a congregant who doesn't live in the area. You have to take that role.
All right,
Otherwise, you can't
no problem.
speak
No problem. I understand.
representing the application.
So regularly during the weekdays and during the weekends, of course, during services on Sunday, it is increasingly difficult to find parking. Historically, there's been additional parking spots for congregants to come into, but now the schools around us have limited their parking because of insurance purposes. The Esso station that used to be there is no longer there, which got turned into condos. So regularly, the street along Clement is full of parking on both sides whenever there's a church event. And it's extremely difficult to find parking. If you're anywhere, if you don't come early, you can't find parking. And if you have family or kids, it's even harder. And in the wintertime, it's even harder again. So I think that what is being proposed is reasonable to increase the parking spaces within our own footprint, within the footprint of that parking lot, because the residents themselves don't have enough parking, and that's the challenge. The challenge is on a Sunday or any other time.
When you say the residents, are you referring to the seniors' home?
The seniors. The seniors drive more now. All seniors drive more than they did 40 years ago, and at the moment, it's extremely difficult to find parking at any time.
Do they not have their own parking lot?
No. It is a shared parking lot. Shared parking lot, correct. Shared parking lot. And PSW workers come in and park during the day, as well as family members come in and park. It's an open parking lot that is not controlled, no assigned parking. So we're looking to reorient if this proposal reorients and increases the number of parking spots, then I'm in favor of doing that. And in addition to helping all of our residents that live in that community.
Okay. So. This is really a question for the applicant, so I'll wait. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And the one thing I did learn today, at least this proposal is trying to add parking when, of course, I've heard many issues about parking all day long, so.
We get it both ways.
I know. I know. Unfortunately for you. Is that why they pay you the big bucks?
Yeah.
I think, okay. All right.
Thanks.
Alexandra Mahacek is online, so we can go to her afterwards. We'll deal with the people here first. So there are a number of speakers that aren't also on the list, but Josie McGrath is on the list already. I'm sorry.
There's another one in favor here.
It doesn't matter. We don't have to hear them in order.
Good evening. I would have liked to say good afternoon or early afternoon.
We would like that too.
My name is Josie McGrath, and I live at 114 Clement Road, directly across from the proposed parking lot expansion. If possible, if you can bring up my letter that I submitted, there are some photos of what I can see outside my window. But basically, my husband and I and our 16-year-old and 14-year-old have lived in this home for 22 years. We are third-generation family owners of this home. My great-grandfather, Nicola Carnevale, was very active, and my grandparents were also very active, Angela and Antonio Carnevale, who own the home, with regards to the proposals with the increased size of the residence, building, etc. So I have been very well aware of this and where the land was before and where they're intending to propose the additional 19 spots. So these are beautiful trees. But aside from the fact that they're beautiful trees, I know your concern is not the beauty of the trees. It is the variances in itself and if they are minor. This proposal is basically going to strip that boulevard there significantly, 50%, which is going to allow for these large growth trees to be removed. They're very healthy. So I would ask you, if you are going to consider this, that you ensure that an independent arborist report is conducted, because many of those trees are over the diameter of 30 centimeters. And while I can appreciate that they are going to be planting 30 more trees, if there's not enough green space boulevard, where are those trees going to be planted on their property? How are those trees going to live, flourish, grow, to be these trees so that children and our neighborhood residents can enjoy them? I mean, I'm sure you've all done your due diligence. You've read through the petitions. You've read through our letters. So I just want to reiterate, 39 trees, yes, while it'll increase the canopy, the growth of those trees are not spread out like that tree. And I know that because we had to get a tree on our boulevard removed from the city because it was sick. It was a city tree. They replaced this rinky-dink tree that needs to grow, and it provides no shade, no canopy. So that is our concern. Also, I heard the applicant mention that they're going to sell spots to the residents in order to provide more spots for them, that they'll have an opportunity to sell them. That's a little contradictory because they also said that they need parking spots for their parishioners. 19 spots is not very many spots. There is free parking, 3-hour municipally free parking, all down Clement, Denfield, Brampton, very close, Clement Court, tons of parking. We also have accessible public transit that anybody, any parishioner can access. So to remove all these large growth trees, to increase 19 spots to put asphalt, it doesn't make sense. And the residents, as you can see on that petition, pretty much all of Clement, tons of signatures. We never have a problem with the individuals at the church parking for their Sunday worship, when they have their carnivals, when they would have their wagon rides in the winter. So I don't know how this is enhancing the community space.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions? No? Okay.
Is there Gerald Zenchuk here?
Good evening, Mr. Chair and board members. My name is Jerry Zenchuk. I live at 108 Clement Road, directly across from the middle of the parking lot. I had an opportunity to address the hearing in May, and thank you for today's opportunity. I strongly feel that the proposed minor changes are not minor at all. I feel that there is no need to expand the number of parking spots at the combined church and seniors lot, especially if it means destroying 30 healthy, mature trees. During the week, there are always empty parking spots in the lot. On Sundays, during Mass, there are unfilled spots in the parking lot, as long as also and along both sides of Clement Road and Denfield Street. The proposed increase in spots would be obtained by reducing the size of existing spaces by 1.5 feet and almost a half foot in width. a reduction of over 8%. It will make getting into and out of vehicles much more awkward and perilous, especially for those requiring assistance or using wheelchairs, walkers, or canes, and during snowfalls. To allow for 14 new parking spots along Clement Road, 13 healthy, mature pines will be cut down and removed, along with a 2-foot-tall concrete wall, almost all of the existing berm, and 2/3 of the landscaping. The proposal calls for the removal of another 9 healthy, mature pine trees and most of the landscaping along Denfield Street. This is hardly a minor variance. This should not be allowed. The trees provide a physical screen along the road and are beautiful all year long. They produce oxygen and remove carbon dioxide and help absorb water runoff. They act as a substantial windscreen. Without them, the wind will howl across the parking lot and down Clement Road. They are also home to many birds and small animals. Since the people living in the residents are tenants and not owners, they were not notified of the proposed parking lot changes or tree removals. They love to gather along the wall, sit in the shade of the trees, chat, and enjoy nature. There are currently not many other places to sit outside. In fact, there is only a single bench. It is important to note that the residents did not learn of the proposed changes until their neighbors started interacting with them to highlight the proposed changes. This seems unfair, especially since the residents are the ones to pay monthly for the parking privilege, and they are most directly affected. The pastor at the church, Tyler Scarborough, told me that there was no need for the tenants to know about the changes, and most of the churchgoers should have been aware. The view from the residents' windows facing Clement Road is awesome. It lasts all year long. Do not take that away from them. The beauty is enjoyed daily by the entire community, including neighbors, visitors, parents with children walking to local schools. The trees that are to be cut down are healthy, mature, 45-year-old pines. Many neighbors in the community enjoy lovely walks along the charming tree-lined streets. The neighbors along the north side of Clement Road bought their homes partially because of the tree-lined view. I did. If these changes are approved, neighbors will have nothing to look at but an open parking lot. Incidentally, the applicant still has not applied to urban forestry to remove protected trees. In summary, the 2/3 reduction of landscaped area, the number of eliminated trees, and the reduction in the size of each individual parking lot are not justifiable variations. I feel the proposed variances are neither minor nor necessary, and the destruction of so many healthy trees at one time is totally unwarranted and cannot be justified to provide 36 additional parking spots. It will have a drastic, immediate, and negative impact on the local environment. While I was canvassing the neighborhood for signatures to oppose the proposition, I spoke with a lot of neighbors. And many of them told me that when the original zoning happened in 1979, one of the conditions that allowed the zoning change was that a berm was constructed along Clement and Denfield roads, and the trees were planted along that area. The tree canopy in this area is already well below Toronto's 40% target. The destruction of trees and landscaping will convert the zone from apartment neighborhood to mixed-use area with a commercial industrial feel. I strongly urge you to deny the variances, as it will destroy the charm of the entire community. And again,
wrap up, please.
Yep, as Joni Mitchell said, they paved paradise to put up a parking lot. Do not let this happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Rita Ego, is that online, in person? Do we?
There wasn't a Rita Ego earlier, unless that person showed up. Rita Ego?
No?
No, so in that case, Marlene Eisner?
Little small person here, so hang on a second. Now, okay, can you guys hear me? Yeah. So I apologize if my voice is shaky because I have not eaten. I'm freezing cold. It is late.
I'm usually getting ready for bed. Sorry, guys. So I do have,
We need your name and address.
I know, sorry. So my name is Marlene Eisner, and I live at 105 Clement. So I am a resident of the seniors home, which is a 59-plus facility, okay? So, I'm sorry. Yeah, there I'm going. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so basically the variances are not minor. The parking, the parking variances, as well as the removal of the berm and the removal of the trees. For residents, for us living there, this is not minor at all. So just to give you some background, yes, when the building was built, the residents living there were mostly women who did not drive cars, right? Lots of women didn't drive cars when they were born in 1900, 1920, and by the time 1981 came along, they were seniors, right? Now we drive cars, okay? And so we do have spots. We pay for our parking spot. It's part of our lease, okay? And there is no designated spot for us. We have asked to have designated spots, but that has not been allowed. So we just park wherever we can, okay? Because now all of the spots have been open to church members, visitors, and tenants, okay? Now, there is a side lot of 20 parking spots which are not going to be touched in this variance to change the size of the parking spaces to increase the number of parking spaces by 35. Those are not going to be touched. By the way, on Sunday, when the parishioners come, and it's a great congregation, there's a lot of people coming now. I watch them, I see them, a lot of families. That's often used by PSWs. They don't usually work on the weekend, right? So that is empty there, pretty much, okay? As far as we're concerned, I'm a little bit confused by the measurements because currently each spot is already, a width of 2.6 meters, okay? It has, so they're claiming they would like, the proposal is to reduce the width to 2.6, but I measured, those spots average 102 inches, right? I'm sorry, I do inches, but whatever, which is 8.5 feet, which is 2.6 meters. So already those spots are measuring that, and they're not all even. So for instance, the spots near the church are a little bit wider. As you go more to the center, they're a little bit narrower. And a lot of people who have parking spots in a seniors building have walkers, okay? I don't have a walker. I do have rheumatoid arthritis, so sometimes my joints get a little angry with me. And as it is, just the spots that we have, opening up the door near driver's side to get out, there is sometimes just enough room now for able-bodied. Right?
Sorry, you just need to stay in front of the microphone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then people online can't hear you.
I know, I'm really sorry. Anyways, just to say that already the spaces are small, okay? Also, we have 15 handicap spots, which are not legally the right size, okay? They are all 8.5 feet wide instead of the required 12 point something feet, okay, that they're supposed to be legally. And also 3 of them are beside barriers. They're not barrier free, so you can't really get out on that side. And so those spots will have to be expanded before the other ones. Like, it's sort of not making sense to me, right? How do you add 35 spots when you need to expand the handicap spots? And then the other spots are already 8.5 feet wide. So you need to take down that berm. Well, those trees are mature trees. We have enough of a climate crisis. As well, many of the residents at 105 do not have air conditioning, and often in the summertime, especially, people in walkers, they will congregate like on that west-north side of the parking lot where there's that nice tree canopy. People will either sit on the wall or they'll sit in their walkers. And sometimes that's the only space that they have where it's cool, where they can sit outside. We don't have balconies. There are spots in the back. That's part of the other building, Kipling, but it's limited, okay? So taking off, 2/3 of that green space just to add parking spots on the other side, to make it a little bit more, would take away we have tons of birds, we have tons of animals, the green space itself, that canopy, Any type of shade, you add asphalt, you're adding heat, okay? It is hot enough. Like I said, a lot of people don't have air conditioning. They're sitting there.
I think I should wrap up.
Yes, I'm sorry.
I do have questions for you, so don't go away.
Yes, okay, so, and my last point, which I forgot, I'm really sorry, I'm so sorry, my brain is not working today, I really, like at this hour. There were other points, but please ask questions.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Because this will really, snow, I'm sorry, it's really important.
Where are you going to pile the snow?
Not just pile the snow, being able to shovel in between the cars now is dicey. To make those spots even smaller, I don't know how we're going to get out.
So I just want to understand something. So you're a resident in that seniors complex that shares the parking with
Correct.
The church.
Correct.
You're charged to park there.
Yes, I pay a monthly fee. I've been living there 6 years. Yes, it's part of my lease.
And so does that guarantee you that you're going to get a spot?
No, because there are times, like for instance, if there's an event at the church or on a Sunday, like for instance, if I leave in the morning and then I come back, it's very possible
you
there's
have
no
access
spots.
to that surface parking only.
Correct. On the street, if I want to park on the street, but yes.
No,
just
understood.
to-
No, but
yeah.
if you're paying for parking, you should be using the parking.
Correct.
So the building to the south, which is called Richview Community Care Services, is that something separate?
I don't.
Doesn't exist.
Does-
It's part of the.
It's okay.
No, okay, no, so there is the church,
Yeah.
okay, which has a Kipling address, I think, and then 105 Clement is a,
Is the building that you're, I get that.
right, I don't know.
And then
what-
there's another building that fronts on Kipling. I believe it's 1448? No, that's the church.
No, that's the church. Yes, I'm sorry, that's the entrance to the church. Community Cares, from what I understand, has an office inside the Clement building.
Okay.
Okay, like if I understand what you're saying, I'm sorry, I'm like shaking.
No, I'm confused. And maybe this is a better question for the applicant, but
Yes.
I just thought you're here. So there's another building that fronts on Kipling, 1540 Kipling.
Which is another building. It's a handicapped accessible building, and it's
Is that
part
of this complex?
it is owned by either Richview Baptist, I think the foundation, or the church, or whatever.
Okay, because they have their own separate parking.
Yes, in the back. So in the
Yeah.
back they have
And underground.
and underground, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Any other questions? No? Okay, thank you.
I'm really sorry. I'm just
No, it's all good. It's all good.
We have an Armando Braun.
It's Armand Braun.
Oh, sorry, that's a
That's
D.
okay.
Armand Braun.
Armand Hammer is fine by me. Yes, my name is Armand, Armand, okay? And it's Braun, the last name, shaver, coffee maker, and all that other good stuff. And I am a resident at 105 Clement Road, okay? I have a lot of questions, but I have only 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. So I lived at the Clement building for 6 years. I am a former president representing the residents. And I am a former one because the management didn't like me too much because I started stepping on some toes for lack of maintenance, et cetera, et cetera. So parking is a huge issue. When I signed the lease, I said to management, I said, what spot am I designated? I pay you and I don't even get designated parking. So I don't know who damages my door or my car or anything else. I own a larger car and it has value. And I cannot understand this big problem with parking because if management took a responsible approach, they would number spots so I know who's parking beside me, et cetera, et cetera. But it sends me and everybody else a clear message. They really just don't care, okay? So that bothers me tremendously, but not to say anything else about that. The parking issue right now is 1 day a week, Sunday. That's it. okay? Sunday is the parishioners' day, and they come to the church, they take over the parking lot, okay? If I move my car, I can't even go and visit friends outside the community or anything on a Sunday because I'll lose my spot and I won't be coming back home until the church empties out, okay? As far as size goes, I used to drive tractor trailer for 30 odd years, so I know about the size of vehicles, et cetera, and I don't understand how the church and the architects or whoever else is involved in this can get the amount of parking spots they want for anything, because it just doesn't work. It can't work. You know, like I used to back a 75-foot truck. So I know about space and how much space is needed. I worry about the residents. That was why I got involved with becoming the president and representing the residents. What I see in the wintertime is unbelievable, okay? Residents have fallen between their cars now as it is. In the wintertime, like we just had, there is no parking because the plows just plow right over top, basically, of that berm where the trees are, okay? So where is the snow going to go when they expand this parking space? There's no space to open even my door. So I understand they want to expand the spot by narrowing the spot. I don't know, mathematically, I'm not a rocket scientist, but I can tell you right now, that equation, 1 and 1's got to equal 2 here, and that equation just doesn't work here, okay? This proposal is a fiasco, and I have spoken to a lot of the residents in this building, and they are all totally against this thing, okay? And I'm not just talking hearsay, I know a lot of people, and I'm very happy that the community is involved in this rebellion, because this is what it is. This is not a good thing. It is not good for the community. It is not good for the residents. That's all I have to really, I got 58 seconds. So, so this has to be taken into consideration. And I really honestly don't think so. I don't think the health and safety has been taken into consideration for the residents. I've seen people fall in between their cars. The parking lot in itself is in disrepair. The elevators in our building have broken down numerous times.
Let's not get into that. That's not what we're here.
Well, I understand that, but I want you to understand something. We need to maintain our building and our property. And I pay for parking, and this has been just a very...
So to summarize, you don't support any of the...
No, not of the growth, no, or lack of growth.
And you don't support it primarily because of the reduction in the size of the parking spots?
Exactly.
I'm just trying to tease out, because you're saying
Yep.
a lot, but you're not saying what we need to hear.
Okay. My apologies, okay?
No worries.
But no, honestly, this is just not good for the neighborhood, and that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? No, okay, thank you.
Is there a Betty Cowan that's present?
Hello, my name is Betty Cowan, and I'm a resident at 105 Clement, and I'm also a parishioner at Richview Church. I am totally in support of the proposed changes. Why? One, when it snows, they push all the snow to the berm, and we lose at least one parking space in every side of the rows. Yes, the rest of it is ugly and it's difficult to manage. I would love an assigned spot because I pay someone to come and shovel my parking space out. And then I go out and do grocery shopping and somebody goes, oh, there's a nice clean spot. And yeah, it's frustrating. But I also, one of the big things that I'm concerned about, to be perfectly honest, is safety on Clement and Denfield. They park, when it's really busy at the church, they park on both sides of the road. It is basically a 3-car wide road. So you put a car on both sides of the road, you've got a single road. If a fire truck had to go through it, God forbid how much damage they would do. I really, it would be hazardous. I don't think it's safe with all the kids we have running around. They can pop out between these parked cars, and we as drivers are responsible to stop for them. And I mean, that's my worst fear as a driver, is that I would touch a child. The other thing that I want to comment on is the width of the disability handicap spots. They're normal spots as far as Richview is concerned at the moment. And yes, I walk with a walker. Yeah, that means it goes in the trunk and then I walk around the side. So I don't really need a double width, a time and a half width space. But there are people in our building who are in wheelchairs who do need help, or people who are so dependent on their walker that they have to go up between the cars, get seated into the front seat, and somebody else takes the walker and stores it. So, there just are some hazards that I don't see other people are considering. Yes, I'm sorry if we lose some of those trees. The flowering trees in particular are gorgeous in the spring. But some of those other trees are getting old and they're getting hazardous. A good storm and they'll take out a car or two. I'd hate to see what Armin would say if it landed on his Camaro, So, it would be a little would not be fit for ears. So anyways, that's my point. I am in favor of this change. Maybe it's not perfect, but I think the church is trying its best to do what's right for the building and for the community. Thank you.
Any other speakers?
Mr. Chairman, we have one person online, but before we go there, is there anybody else that hasn't spoken that wishes to speak to this application? As long as they don't belong to an address of someone who's already spoken.
Okay, let's
Okay,
go.
so. Okay.
Hi, I'm Cedric Valley. I live at 110 Clement Road, neighbor to Jerry and to the other speakers. Probably the newest member of the community that's been there and even been there for some time now. I think all the points that have been made are articulated accurately. The trees are healthy. The trees are not sick. They are not subject to fall from any windstorm. I've seen many trees, and those trees are more than healthy. The canopy is true. You can replace trees. They take 20 years, 30 years to grow back to the level that they are now, and they don't provide the space. On Sunday mornings, I think as a community, and the person I bought the home from told me the history, there was some contesting when the church was built, but they agreed to actually accommodate the church and the seniors home, and they're great neighbors. 105 is great. Some of the best neighbors you can have. They're quiet, enjoy the green space, love the community. But I do think it presents, on Sunday mornings, people park. It's fine, it works. We as neighbors don't complain, don't put forward any petitions for them parking. There's lots of room. I think the piece that no one has talked about is there's other parking around. There's schools. Denfield is empty on Sunday mornings. Clement, a little past the stop sign, has lots of space to accommodate parking. I think you're hearing the members of the 105 talk. I think you can address the parking problem that's there today. With regards to snow, removing that boulevard, there'll be no place for snow. We have a waterway issues already. Numerous times it's rained heavy, it floods. Where is that snow going to go? Where's the water going to go once you remove the boulevard that's there? I think Toronto, as Josie said, 40% or was Jerry. Toronto's aiming for a 40% canopy. Not quite sure we're going to replace that when we have that. And on top of that, beauty does add to the value of homes and how the neighborhood is seen. And right now it's a very desirable neighborhood. You're going to take away from that. So just wanted to add those points. I won't reiterate other points there.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we have someone online as well?
Yes, Alexandra Mahacek.
Hi there. Thank you so much, committee and chair, for having me Chair members, apologies, Thank you so much for your stamina as well today. I really appreciate your time. My name is Alexandra Mahachek. I live at 124 Clement Road, and I'm in opposition to the requested variances, minor variances. I disagree that they are minor. And as someone who has worked in healthcare and in research, I try my best to take a balanced and holistic approach to my assessments. And I want to mention that I understand and I can see for sure the importance of access to community centers and to fostering community. That is how we feel about the trees in our community and how important of a role that they play in sustaining and maintaining our community. So I think it is valid for the church to inquire and to look into ways that parking can be expanded. There was a comment earlier about what research has been done about the demand of the parking, and I would like to see more studies be conducted about the parking situation from Sunday through Saturday, week to week, when there is service and when there is not. It would be nice to see also a sincere effort to be made to expand the parking in the residential areas and in the schools, the Etobicoke Central and the St. Marcellus School that exists by. I heard a congregant mention that the insurance has been changed with the schools, and so parking may be more limited. I think that it is still worth exploring. I don't know enough about that to comment, but I think that if there are funds to create clearance and to fell trees, I wonder if there can be an arrangement with the schools to expand the parking lot. I spoke with Kingsway Baptist Church this morning. I spoke with management, and I think they are a great establishment to look to for a circumstance where a similar institution has limited parking. It says on their website that there is limited parking, and I was generously given a pamphlet, a digital pamphlet that parishioners are handed out in the community, and it says it instructs parishioners to walk as many as 2 blocks north of the church in order to access the facilities. I did a Google Maps calculation, so pardon me if there's any errors, but it looked like there was about a 400-meter walk between the walk that would be recommended for parishioners that cannot park on site or in very close by green parking. And I believe the walk would be similar, if not less. I even calculated 200 meters for some parking spots, and that would be for those that are able. There are situations in our city where there is limited parking, but I think we need to do our very best to look at the resources we already have. We can see the massive destruction that is happening right now with the wildfires in Northern Ontario. I think it would be a grave mistake to get rid of our very valuable natural resources when we really need to hold on to them and to help protect cooling the neighborhood, to help protect with carbon dioxide absorption. As a nurse, I know that we're all vulnerable to the heat, but especially our youngest and oldest members of the community. And there is the retirement residence that is next to the parking lot, and there's also the school I often see preschool age children, whether it's a daycare or a preschool, and then there are elementary school children that are close by. And I think it would be a detriment to those members of the community and to us on Clement, we take such pride in the appearance and the shade. I'm very fortunate in my health, but I don't like to walk anywhere where there isn't shade, and I have a senior dog as well. We like to walk under the shade. It would, I think, be a massive mistake. I really love the idea of planting new trees. I think we should be doing that anyways, but as my former constituent mentioned, that it would take at least 20 years for the canopy to be replaced. I don't think that we can afford to do this. Committee members, chair members, and I strongly suggest and hope that you also oppose this proposal. And I do hope that there can be a solution, and I think it is that is a lower bar to entry, and it's available in our community, and we support that. I have no opposition to the members of the church using our streets for their community. I think community is important. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, is that our last speaker?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, that's correct.
Okay, so if we can get Mark Hicks back.
Just a few comments through you, Chair. There's been quite a lot said about the size of the parking space. The size of the parking spaces are regulated by the City of Toronto under the bylaw, and so we're not asking for a change in what the City of Toronto has already regulated. The existing spaces do vary in size. The number that we're referencing was the original site plan that had been submitted. in terms of the 2.75 wide space. The barrier-free spaces will comply with this new City of Toronto bylaw for barrier-free spaces. So we intend to comply with the bylaw requirement for parking spaces. We're just trying to expand the lot to improve the number of spaces. In the proposal on the section on our site plan, we're showing a change to the berm, and that was intentional because right now snow removal is very difficult. You can't get a vehicle the way they plow it to get the snow up and over that. So they lose, somebody said, a whole row of parking, which is quite correct. And so by lowering the berm, putting in a regulation curb there, we're able to get the snow off the property onto the property owned by the church in the landscape boulevard. And I think the other thing that is worth stating again to your question, Mr. Dalton, we have a professional third-party arborist who has done a detailed arborist report, noting the number of trees that will be damaged or injured or removed. And according to the City of Toronto bylaw, we have to replace those trees with at a 1-to-3 ratio. So it'll be 39 new trees to replace the ones that are being removed. So we are improving the number of trees, the screening that will be provided by those trees on the boulevard. There still is a significant boulevard between the curb that we're proposing and the property line, and we're not altering any of the trees that the City of Etobicoke owns in the boulevard. So those are in addition to the ones that have been counted by our arborist. Any other questions?
I have multiple questions. I'm just waiting.
Oh, sure.
I just don't want to take away from your time.
Okay, I think I'm done, and I'll just be
Okay.
answering
I'm going to start with your first variance because you're saying that you're going to comply with the size of the parking spots regulated by the City of Toronto. I mean, if you were going to do that, then you wouldn't need that first variance.
Well, right now, the spaces are larger. We're reducing the size. They're oversized. So then if I don't need that variance, then we're down to 2.
Well, I mean, it says the minimum required parking space length is 6.4. So are you saying it's not 6.4?
We're referencing the City of Toronto standard there, 569-213, which is 2.6 by 5.6.
You see, they're amending bylaw 1978-226. So that bylaw specifically said your parking spaces there have to be 6.4 by 2.6.
Correct.
So now what they're trying to do under 569-2013, which is the citywide bylaw, all parking spaces are 2.6 by 5.6.
Okay, so they're coming to the new reduced.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Just,
it was designed under a different bylaw.
No, I understand. I just, it confused me, so. Okay, no, fair enough.
Thank you.
So how many spots are you renting to the seniors complex?
I think under bylaw, there was 39. We were required to rent 39 or provide 39 spaces to the residents. I understand they're providing over 70 of the parking spaces to residents currently. And I understand there's a waiting list for residents who would desire a parking space.
Okay. Now, you spoke about that there's multiple schools in the area. I mean, there's the Catholic school to the south, there's the high school to the west. You're saying that they're not permitting your parishioners to...
The high school has removed their permission for the church to use their property, and I do think there's some kind of agreement with the elementary school on occasion for overflow spaces.
Okay, because if that's for insurance, I mean, you know, the solution to that is to buy the insurance waiver. In other words, you take the responsibility for that. That's going to be cheaper than redoing the parking lot.
But there are some complications, you know, with the negotiations with the school to use their property.
No, I understand, but I'm just saying that is an option.
It is an option, but it would be an additional to what we're asking for here.
I'm trying to see if it's an alternative to what you're asking for here. I'm trying to also understand the, is there 2 seniors complexes or is there one? Is the one that faces Kipling part of your complex?
It's part of the Richview Corporation, but it has its own parking and there's parking below the building as well.
Correct. Do your parishioners have access to that?
No.
So it's a separate corporation?
Yes.
Okay. And they don't use your parking lot?
Not that I'm aware of. Oh, they do. They do. Sorry, they do. Yeah.
No, sorry. So their visitor parking is in your parking lot?
Well, there is some behind that building, but because it's not controlled in any way, if a visitor came and wanted to drive off Clement and park in a vacant parking spot, they can walk.
I'm just trying to get an overall picture of this whole situation.
Yeah. What's that?
The ones on the ground level behind Kipling?
Yeah.
All assigned.
Yeah, those are assigned, correct.
Okay. And I'm assuming the underground would be assigned as well.
Correct. Yeah, you can't get in there without a pass.
Okay. And you haven't had enforcement issues of being tagged for parking on the streets or whatever?
No.
No, okay. Okay, those are my questions. Do anyone else have any others?
I'll have a
Go ahead.
couple of really quick questions. Is Sunday the principal day of worship?
Yeah, Sunday mornings obviously is the big day, and then any special holiday like Christmas or Easter or.
And what's the spacing between services?
Well, right now there's currently just one service.
There's only one service?
Yes.
Oh, I see. So there aren't multiple services on Sunday?
Not currently.
I was wondering if you did an exercise on determining how many parking spaces you would yield if you were to apply the current standard of 2.6 by 5.6 without touching the boulevard and ramp.
It was about 11 spaces.
Only 11. I see. So the original parking spaces in Metric would have, in Imperial would have been 10 by 20.
Close to that, yes, correct.
9.5 by 20. And 9.5 by 19.65, something like that. So only 11 spaces. That's what you would yield if you were just to use the existing paved area.
Yeah.
I see. Thank you.
So the net gain is 25 if you go through with all of this.
30. The net gain is 30.
36, but
36.
But you could get 11 without making any changes, you just said.
Correct. We'd have to remove the islands that are currently on the fire route.
So your net gain for moving towards cutting back the berms and removing the trees, your net gain is 25 spaces.
Yes.
Okay. And you understand that forestry may deny some of those tree removals even if we approve this application?
Yes, correct. We still have to go through that process. The engineering hasn't been done. We have to do civil engineering for drainage, obviously, make sure that the existing storm system can handle the additional asphalt area. We've done some very preliminary work on that. Forestry, we've had a brief conversation with forestry. They don't object, but they haven't seen a fulsome landscape plan and an application that's required for that. So you're correct.
Okay. All right, just trying to figure this out for 25 spaces, and there's lots of spaces at the schools.
Well, they're not accessible to us every time we need them.
No, but they could be with some negotiations. Anyway, that's okay. Those are my questions. Anybody else? We're good? Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
Take it into committee. Anyone want to start some discussion, or?
Sure. The only comment I have is certainly I can understand the fact that there's a parking demand issue, but that demand is only for a small period of time, probably only on one day of the week. And to go through this exercise of taking away prescribed landscaping, existing trees, replanting for an additional 36 spaces, in my view, is not desirable. The city of Toronto.
I would say 25 spaces because, as you pointed out, they can gain 11 without making any of those changes.
Our aim right now is to try to get people to get on transit, use transit. There is transit. carpooling. There are many suggestions you can make to the congregation in terms of trying to get there. Not everybody should be driving. I know that if it's a whole family, it's certainly desirable to get the whole family in the car and so on. But when I look at the request that you're making, it really goes against the whole grain of what the City of Toronto is trying to do, what the city is trying to do, reduce the number of automobiles on the street. Can you get there by bicycle? Not necessarily on a Sunday if you're dressing up for service. But that is, again, an opportunity. I'm looking at this application as an application to increase parking. And is that desirable in terms of the test? I don't think it's desirable to increase the parking at the expense of losing tree canopy, losing landscaping that was prescribed originally for a period of time that's so short on one day.
Thank you, Mr. Gully.
I would like to add to Mr. Gully's comments, but I can't because he said everything I was thinking.
Okay. Okay. Just for devil's advocacy, there is a rather large park immediate to the south of this site with lots of tree cover. But anyway. Yeah, no, I hear you. I think what it comes down to is, is it worth it for, and really what I would call a net gain of 25 spaces? Because as was already discussed, 11 spaces can be gained just by relining and taking out some of the islands. Anybody else? Anyone ready for a motion?
Dinner.
Dinner would have been good about an hour ago.
Go for breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm happy to make that motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, having considered all of the very informative and helpful submissions that we've heard here tonight, thank you, everybody. In my view, the application fails to meet the 4 tests, and along with some of the general comments, the cost-benefit analysis for what the community could gain versus what could be lost does not support this application. I move to refuse.
Thank you, Ms. Popovic. Is there a seconder?
I'll second the motion, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Taylor. All in favor? Okay, opposed? Okay, I thought you would go that way. Okay, so the application is refused on a split vote of 4-1.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just say 1 second? I don't believe in
Please,
politics.
I want to get out of here.
Yeah,
Come on.
Come on, you're making this guy stay up late.
Just 1 second.
Wait around and tell them
I just
after,
wanna say
please.
one thing. I don't believe in politics, but tonight you've made me have new faith in politics.
Well, we're not hopefully we're not politicians.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 28, 174 Church Street, application to construct a new fourplex, 2 variances requested. 4 streets chimed in as okay. There is an objection from 63 Woodward, and MTO has advisory comments. And you would be Craig?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Craig Race, agent for the owner. My address is 100 Lombard Street.
Okay. We do need a presentation.
If staff could please pull up our supporting material, I'll try to keep it brief. The application before you is for 2 minor variances, a platform variance and a driveway variance. Excuse me. The building you see in the rendering is an as-of-right fourplex that has already undergone building permit review. The building is designed as 4 quadrants. Unlike most fourplexes, these units are intended for resale through a condominium corporation. Each unit has an internal garage already included in the design. The purpose of the application is to improve parking access and enhance functionality of the living spaces. And the design accomplishes this without displacing any street parking and with no changes to the as-of-right building. If we go to the next page, This site is near Jane and the 400, near the Humber River Hospital location. It's RD zoned. If we go to the next page, although the building is already approved, it's appropriate to look at the previously existing site condition where there was a driveway along the east edge of the site that has been there forever. That will remain in place. And if we go to the next page, the driveway off the flanking street is permitted as of right. The driveway variance before you is for the other driveway on Church Street, which, as I mentioned, there is no street parking permitted in front of this property, so that space is available. If we go to the next page, there are established conditions very similar to this nearby, a total of 4 properties within a 2-block radius. Those have really shown us that on a corner property, this condition may be appropriate. And there are actually a few properties that have substantially larger driveway frontage on both the front and the flanking side than we are proposing. If we go to the next page, the platform variance is for the 2nd floor balconies you see above the garage doors. These are already in the design as canopies. We're simply asking to put guards on those and have the living space open onto it. That is the living room, dining room, kitchen above the garage. We feel that is appropriate for openness and access to fresh air. If we go to the next page, the owners have undertaken outreach to the majority of the affected neighbors. And finally, to conclude, I'll just simply note that this building is going to go ahead as shown. It has driveway access already. This is simply an application to improve the access to those garages and improve the livability of the units. Those are my submissions. Pleased to take questions.
Thank you. Mr. Gully?
I don't have a question.
Oh, sorry, you were going for your mic. I thought you were. Okay. No
Anxious
question.
with the motion?
No, not yet. Not so fast, unfortunately. It's not 9 o'clock yet. I believe we do have another speaker to be here in person. I don't think I see anybody else.
But the person is online.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that Peter?
That's correct, Peter Moretti.
Ready? Okay. You might want to take a seat. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, hello. Hi. Sorry. Thank you for listening to me here. I appreciate. I know it's getting late in the evening here. But yeah, I represent Miranda Corrado, who's at 63 Woodward, which is the property directly behind the new building, or 174 Church Street. And the issue we have is with the first variance, having in a neighborhood where there's all 1- and 2-story houses, all the direct neighbors are that. This is going to be a 3-story building, and it will have balconies, multiple balconies, both front and back, which will be looking over the backyard of 63 Woodward, which would impede our peaceful enjoyment of having people stare down at us from a 3rd-story platform there or balcony. No other houses in the area are up that high, at least the immediate neighborhood, and so we are concerned with certainly the kind of oversight from a higher above that didn't exist before.
Okay. Thank you. I'll ask the applicant back.
Would you like me to respond, Mr. Chair?
Yes, please.
Certainly. So as I mentioned in my submission, the platform variances are for the 2nd floor platforms, not the 3rd floor platforms. The 3rd floor platforms in the design are as of right and are permitted. Similarly, the window openings and areas for potential view are not changing as a result of this application. I'll also note there is a fairly substantial rear yard setback that is significantly higher than the bylaw requires. The required rear yard setback is 7.5 meters. We are 12.85 meters to the rear lot line. So we don't believe that this application creates any change than the existing as of right condition.
Okay, I just want to question your interpretation of the variance. My reading of it, it says that you cannot have more than 2. You're proposing 4. I don't think it speaks to whether it's 3rd floor or 2nd floor.
So the way the variance is written, each unit can have 2 platforms, but they have to be on separate sides of the building. In a typical multiplex where the units are stacked on top of each other, the bylaw theorizes you have a front and a rear balcony. Because we've gone with a quadrant design, so every unit has a basement to roof dedicated to itself, we deviate from the bylaw by having those 2 platforms on the same side.
Okay, but still, how do you choose to say that the 3rd floor is legal as of right, but the 2nd isn't?
The 3rd floor platforms are already in the permits that have been submitted and reviewed.
I see. But the variance is, but if you move them to the 2nd floor, you still have a variance created if you want to keep the ones on the 3rd floor.
That is true, yes.
So it's not really that one is more legal than the other.
That is true.
It's the fact that there is 2.
That is true, yes.
So I'm just pointing out that it's not a fair statement to say that the 3rd floor is legal as of right.
Forgive me, either one would be legal as of right, but you're right. That
But not
both
2.
together are
Right.
not. That's right. And on the contrary, if we were to stack units, we could have those 2 platforms where they are if they belonged to different units. But it's because they belong to the same unit
No,
that
understood.
it's not permitted.
So I'm just trying to grapple with how we can address the concerns. So the 2nd floor balconies are from what room?
The living room, dining room, and kitchen, which is
Okay,
a
and the
single
3rd
space.
floor is from what?
The principal bedroom.
Principal bedroom, okay. And what is the size differentiation between the 2?
The size of the platform, sir?
They're both under 4 square meters?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's what I'm getting at, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you mitigate that. You can't do a privacy screen across the front of the...
We would certainly be open to a side privacy screen.
No, understood,
on
but
the,
I don't think
the
that would
west.
address the issue.
True, sir.
Okay. All right, so that is our dilemma, is the 2nd balcony. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any discussion?
The only comment I want to make is that in Built Urban Forum that we are in Toronto, a certain amount of overlook is necessary sometimes.
Okay. Anyone else?
And the separation distance is 12.5 meters, correct?
Slightly more than that, yes.
Yeah, so that's what, 38 feet?
Okay, so it's substantial. Yeah, okay,
It's not insignificant.
okay. Great, we're going to ask you to take a seat. I think we're done with questions.
Yeah.
Anyone ready for a motion or any more discussion?
Chair, I'm going to move that variance number 1 and variance number 2 be authorized. I believe the variances that are being requested meet the four tests. Move approval, no conditions.
Thank you, Mr. Gully. Is there a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Mr. Dalton. All in favor? Okay, that's unanimous approval. Thank you. Thank you. Does anyone want to do any other motions?
No. I'll move to adjourn.
Thank you, Laura.
Motion to adjourn?
So we're adjourning at
8:54.
8:55.